however beautiful we have the ideas for 2027, I don't think any of us will be alive to see there. And if you need any evidence, then the neighborhoods that had a night of terror can maybe say IDs will be used to suppress. Already he knows. One of the characteristics of a narcissistic personality, they are quite smart. They're quite conniving. They know that you're going to need voter registration in numbers. They know they're going to need IDs, but they have the systems with them. So I think we should also be looking for the long term, someone to come up with a plan. And I want to thank people because of now we are having the type of conversations that really matter. I am from Laikipia, and I'm going to bring it out here and say thank you so much to Paulo Kimani, because what we've not been seeing is the topic of minerals in the mainstream. And unfortunately, I'm going to say that although we have been facing local, like it seems like it's a local thing, there are also international players behind it, because I shared a map that has the Northland Ridgeland Trust. And if you look at the map and how those conservations have been spread out, and then you go and look at resources of the Kenya geological maps, it's such a huge coincidence that you're finding that most of these conservancies or wildlife or anything coincide with the locations that have been mapped. And if you want to use this as evidence, go to Samsam Water website, where they have all the gazettes for the geological maps that were done. And then you're going to see that, I'll give just one example. Radioactive item, something that is so precious, Sumerium, Amasamascite, that particular rock. It's rich in all those rare earth metals. We have Lewa Downs. We have Borana Conservancy. We have Lewa Downs. And that's where we have the Loldaiga Hills. Go get your geology maps, read that, and then you just ask yourself, what a coincidence that some of these conservancies sit down into some of the places that thank you so much. Anyone who is going to do this, I hope you have the mental fortitude to see it to the very end. I know people are exhausted. That is one of the things the government has been banking on, that you're going to get exhausted, you're going to get discouraged. And I just want to give you encouragement that if you're seeing this amount of force, if you're seeing this amount of murder, we are onto something. And the political class is going to just be on the same team to ensure that we are still going to be the same people. Poverty is by design. Unemployment is by design. 4 factors of production: land, capital, enterprising, and enterprising youth, whatever. Sorry, I am racing. But it's just that this is a premium space, and I've been wanting to be here from the 18th. So my thoughts are a bit jumped up, and also the stress from being persecuted for a long time. Now, the young people in Kenya, you are made unemployed, you are made poor by design, because you don't have land, and neither the capital. Look at the political class. They have the lands, they have the capital. All what they don't have, it's labor. So what happens? For labor to become cheap, it must keep you in a poverty cycle. As many people who are poor, as many qualified, you get desperate. If you get desperate, now you can be manipulated to get what is not your worth. That's why I think the end game is make as many young people poor, desperate. They can be paid whatever they pay. All the profits go to the people who own lands, capital, and any form of resources. And again, if I kill you, I'll replace you with another one. If I fire you, I'll replace with another one. Thank you so much, Kimuzi. Thank you so much, Dr. Mpiti. I appreciate your time.
Thanks. Philly alafu Mkenya. Philly? Philly?
Yes, unaweza nisikia? Unaweza nisikia?
Yes, Kimuzi.
Kindly balance the gender.
najaribu ku add na kuna females najaribu kuongeza wanaingia wakidrop. I don't know if it's their network. I'm trying to balance. Naona kadhaa on the request.
Dr. Mbiti, can you hear me?
Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So, thanks for the opportunity. What I wanted to start with is, when the ruling class rob the poor, it's called business. But when the poor fight back, it's called violence. It cannot be so that when we fight back, serikali ina behave the way it behaves. Because for one, we have been killed, watu wengi wameuawa, watu 50. But why nini na to stop for us to respond back? And how do we respond? Kuna mse
Amepotea?
Nilidhania ni mimi tu.
Hata mimi simsikii.
Karibu
unanisikia? Unanisikia sasa hivi?
Yeah, you're back.
Sorry, maybe simu yangu ilizima screen. But anyways, nasema we should respond by Molotov cocktails. Hivyo tu ndio hii regime itasikia, because hatuwezi kaa kila siku tukisema tunashutiwa watu 50 wameuawa, na it's more than that, because serikali inakuja usiku kwa neighborhoods and shooting up neighborhoods. I mean, which government does this to its own people? And I would advise hata sisi, because watu wanaanza kuchoka, it should be aura for aura. Venye wanatuma, venye wanarusha risasi, pia sisi tunarudisha na Molotov cocktails, because that is the only way hii serikali ita understand. Lazima uelewe who we're dealing with, and we're dealing with Ruto, and we have to give him his flowers in terms of he's a conniving thief, he's narcissistic, and he knows how to respond and when to respond. So ukishajua your enemy, then you have to respond. Mtu narcissistic unamzima aje kwa kuleta as much chaos as possible, usimpe opportunity ya kusema, because ya kuongea, because hata ukiangalia hiyo speech yake ya leo, the way he starts it, anaanza kwa ile vitu ya kutumia wazungu wake wa US na wazungu wake wa nini wa EU, because that speech is tailored for them. Doone okay, umsi ni msoma democracy, anajaribu kustabilize nchi, hakuna, alafu at the end anatuacha na rubbish akina Joho na wengine hapo akina Mbadi and I don't know who. But now we have to respond as citizens in a way like this, because hii ni second revolution. Wacha ile kupigania sijui multipartyism. We have to know that this is the second revolution, and we have to take it to him kabisa. We have to take it to him. Venye ule Mr. J alisema, once the military is out, ni ngumu kurudishwa nyuma. Na how can we ensure that wamekaa out kila siku, aturushi military any more cocktails, tunarushia Molotov cocktails ni wa polisi, because polisi ndio wametuua. Ule msee amekuwa kishoot Rex na ameshoot hawa si wengine, the guy is still in duty. Solidify baadaye, na hii ndio narrative anatumia kwa sisi, divide and conquer. We must not allow that kabisa. We have to answer aura for aura. Akituma risasi pia sisi tunajibu na Molotov cocktail yetu, because it's easy to make, na tunaweza yeka kwa nyumba, na hiyo once hiyo ikitokea kwa hizi makampeni zake zenye anakimbia kila mali na hizi magari zake, akikimbia akitoka kanisani unampa yake, because it cannot be like such bana, it cannot be like such. Thank you guys.
Thanks. I wanted to, before Mkenya, I wanted to give Dr. Bosire, she has been off and on for gender balance. Then Mkenya. Alafu, I'm seeing Prof Kivuda. Niliona alisalamia Ruto 2018. Akisema the stadium in Wote. I think I saw that photo. We said where we are right now, we need political solutions for this political.
Tupatie mic, we ask him questions and we go hard with him.
Nataka kuje kwa nataka niweke Prof hapa atuambie what I just want to understand like what goes through the minds of politicians. Like unatoka a place, what makes you what is so fascinating about owning this thing at the expense of wewe unaingia kwako na kwa mansion wherever na the sub county hospital hapo next hakuna shit. Wewe you are flying with choppers and hata hiyo chopper ikicrash the first place unaingia ni hiyo wherever. So tutampatia mic atuambie, he has been on the political scene, atuelezee what and then atupatie. Tumesema we want I believe he's one of the people who has been saying tukisema we want a I think we need a political party. Kina Okia, Kina Kibu, they have been there. We have not seen them overly corrupted. So we'll give him a mic, and then we see. So, Doc, karibu. I don't know if Dr. Bosiri ananisikia. Mkenya, you can go as you wait for Bosiri. Ni kama network or something.
Oh, okay. Sawa sawa. If there is another lady pia anaweza ongea tu before I speak. Kukuwe tuna that balance. Tukinini. So at the point yenye tumefika, there was something that was mentioned. Forget about following the black letter law. Sahi mali tumefika ni everything, swords have been thrown na kila kitu. So hii mambo ingine mmekuwa mkipush, if you know very well deep inside right now the position that we are in, the position that me Kenya Daima I'm taking the position of Ruto must go, and there is no way we are going to achieve that by not going rogue. There is no way you are going to lie to us that about the judicial that is compromised, the legislature that is compromised, and we can't even talk about anything about the executive that we have at the moment. We have to go rogue. I'm in support of any move that involves now using the Molotovs and responding accordingly, because we have gotten to that point. Because now this point of strategically killing us so that we can be able to sell fear to us, it's not really going to work. So this idea yenye mtu kama unaweka kwa akili there is any dialogue, there is any political thing that is going to happen, we are not going to solve, because what we are going to do is creating another political class. Then this other political class that we think we are creating, it's going to be so compromised. Right now we have to bring all the systems down, then we rebuild them, and we've realized that no amount. Me hata sisikizangi Ruto siku hizi. I don't listen to Ruto. Hata a point nani siku hizi I don't even give a fuck. Hata a point wacha hata even if Ruto takes my brother sahi amweke kama CS, I wouldn't even bother with it, because after listening to everything since this conversation started, we realized that those people are so compromised. Ruto cannot do anything else because it is the whole political class that is compromised. Because ukiangalia hizo pesa zote zenye zimekuwa zikikuliwa and the money that we are telling them we are not going to pay this as a country, it's already over 6.1. Hiyo over 6.1 ukiangalia imetumika kwa what? Imetumika ku bribe the judges and everything. So people likes of Uhuru Kenyatta and everyone, all those people are compromised. Let's come to people like Raila. When Raila went for the handshake, what do you think happened really there? It's the same money that was being eaten. Now let's even boil down to the rest of the things. So guys, forget about working with any political class at the moment. Hata wakina Kivuta Kibwana, these are not guys we can work with. Muulize time yenye aliintroduce mambo ya Okela Nyombaka Lila, hiyo maziwa ilikuwa inatoka wapi? Maziwa inampakajwa inatolewa huko Mount Kenya sijui wapi, then inaletwa inaanza kuwekwa kwa to package. While I appreciate ile voice Kivuta anaweza leta, ile voice any other person anaweza leta, but believe you me, any political class it's nonsense if they did not improve the places that they were. Kivuta hizi danganya haku serve the people of Makueni, ameserve the people of Makueni, but watu wa Makueni sasa wanateseka kama uko kwetu Sekuru and everything before you get it. It's nothing personal, it's just that we need to remain objective. Tushasema tunatoa Ruto, it is Ruto tunatoa. Na if we are going to toa Ruto, believe you me, we have to bring all the systems down. Hii mambo ya wacha sasa, what will the lawyers say? Fuck you guys, what have the lawyers been saying when Kenyans are being killed? You see, the problem is msianze kufikiria one person is enough, one person is the number. Forget about that, huge massacre that's going to bring one person is enough. Hii mambo ya kufuata the black letter law ishafika a stage where hatuwezi. You get hatuwezi. So guys, we have to go rogue. Na kina mama msifikiria ati they fought this war wakinini. No. And remember, right now at least kuna phones, kuna other means of communication. Hao watu walikuwa wanatumiana sijui mabarua sijui na huko mmoja kwenye Ndarua forest, mwingine ako wapi, and the coordination was better. Let's work on coordination, because the coordination that we are supposed to work on is the coordination of going rogue. Kama kina madaktari kama kina Mbiti watatuletea ways of creating cyanide and everything, alafu wale watu wengine kama wenye wako kwa tech kina Mkenya Daima and the rest of the guys watatuletea, we can be able to coordinate a proper offline conversation within the LoRa's and all the other tech, then the other people, then evil, because we have to go rogue at this point. This is where it has gotten. Mambo ya kufuata law na nini, it's not working for us, because the more we are following the law, because guys, if you've read The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, look at what he is doing. This is just prolonging the oppression. This what Ruto is doing now. It's uplifted. It's not even his strategy. It's uplifted from The Prince. You get whereby you prolong how you are. This is mental and psychological exhaustion is happening with Ruto. Ruto doesn't give a fuck. I even wrote it in Kwambia kina Murkomen, Mtuna Murkomen wamerudishwa. Do you think Ruto doesn't know? This is just fueling the anger and the prolonging is going. You get Ruto knows he has to go, but in order to nini another tantrum. So that's why I don't even bother. My concern is how do we get Ruto out, and how we are going to get Ruto out is going rogue. Atuna any other option. Forget about mask the words capping. You know what does the law say? This we need to form a political party because we need to play their political game. Apana, they are not playing any political game with that. These people are killing us. Nini. Kivuda, the people who are killing, they are people within your circle. Those are the people ukikuwa na shida that you call. You don't call them Kenya Daima, ama Mbiti, ama Kimuzi. These are your friends. Even if you are here, I'm sure these are your friends. You already know too much about what is happening, more than even us. But you guys can't help us. That is the point that we are in. So going next, guys, just know we have to go rogue. Hakuna kitu ingine. If tunaenda kutokea pale maandamano and everything, saa hii tukibeba nini? Tukibeba ka flag, kumbuka kubeba pia kubeba your bottle of Molotov, because it's a retaliation. At this point, it has gotten. It is rogue, it is bad, and we have no other option. Ruto is killing us. Tomorrow it will be Kenya Daima, tomorrow it will be Mbiti, tomorrow it will be any other Kenyan. We are not any special at this point. So guys, it's going rogue going forward. That's my submission.
We? Mi hata sitaki kudilute chenye Mkenyanzia amesema. I want to give the two ladies a chance, then we bring Prof, and then we go back to the implementer na MSIC. Nyamisa,
Where?
then Irene. Go. Tuambie.
Let me just start with where, because this is a lot. Emotionally, physically, psychologically, this is a lot. Not us. Yeah? Watu wanaumia. Like, I hope if you are here and you are part of this government, I really hope that munasikizanga. Like, at this point, tunafeel ni kama there's kasoro kwa akili yenu. But we hope at some point kuna sense itaingia kwa akili yenu, because this cannot be it. Let me first start with chenye ilinileta hapa before nisahau. Kenya Daima mention something about all of us taking responsibility, and I've also seen a post by someone who has mentioned that there have been very many people missing, and considering what happened yesterday and last week, we don't know how many people are missing as from yesterday to now. We need to find a way to keep tabs on these people. And someone has suggested that since last time we took too much time to try and follow up what happened in Githurai and all the other estates and Ongatarungai, maybe this time we should set up maybe a reporting center or something, somewhere central, maybe in Githurai, maybe somewhere. Mbiti, I don't know if this is something that can be workable, that we can come up with haraka so that in case there are any cases that are supposed to be reported, juu saa hizi ni kama tunajitegemea, yeah? Watu wengine wanaenda kwa police station nasikia hawapewi OB, people are desperate. So if we can do this, please tuharakishe, tufanye. I'm working with a group of about 12 techies. We are willing to put in the work. We've worked on creating a database for missing persons. I know other techies are also trying to do the same. I don't know how we can connect with each other so that we can collect all this data. You can check out Kumbi Trace. I'll leave it in the comments right now. It's called Kumbi Trace or Kumbi. You can follow Kumbi Trace on Twitter or go to kumbitrace.ke. You'll check out the database. Kindly help us amplify so that we can capture all the missing people and help amplify the missing persons, because there have been issues whereby some people are not that well known and some people are very well known. So we tend to amplify the ones that are well known and forget the other ones. So kindly, if you could just follow Kumbitrace and then amplify. Go to the website, check it out. If there are any improvements you think are necessary, let us know. That aside, I also wanted to address the issue of IDs. Kindly, if there is anyone here who understands what is going on with IDs, because so many people are in trouble because they don't have IDs. Let me not even go so far. Can you imagine right now in the middle of these protests? Yes. And I'm going to address men specifically. You know how the police treat men specifically. Can you imagine being caught right now without an ID? I'm told you're supposed to be given 24 hours to produce your physical ID. Yeah. But we know how the cops operate. We know how the cops operate. By the time the 24 hours lapse, I don't know where you will be. So if you are the person responsible for the delays that are happening in immigration and in Huduma and in, I'm told it's called NRB Kitambulisho or something, please do your job. Please do your job. Personally, I have waited for my ID for 8 months. It has stopped so many things in my life. I don't even want to start thinking about it. I was crying about it on social media on Friday for those who saw. It should not take us embarrassing ourselves on social media for us to get our basic papers. And then to make it worse, that Friday, after I come and throw a tantrum on social media, is when someone calls me from NRB Kitambulisho to tell me that they can help me. Yes, this is on Friday. My ID was printed on Friday night. And they told me that they were going to give it to me on Saturday because I was supposed to go to Eldoret to apply for my passport on Monday. They actually promised they were going to give it to me, to deliver it to me on Saturday. On Saturday, these guys did not deliver as expected. They said the ID had been printed. First of all, let us note that this ID was printed overnight, meaning getting an ID should not take anyone that long. If it can be printed overnight, then it can be printed overnight. Let us stop lying to each other. Let us stop making each other wait for months for something that can be done immediately. If banks can print ATM cards immediately, why are we waiting for weeks and months for IDs? We have children going to school in the next few weeks. They don't have their identification cards. They cannot apply for help. These are kids whose parents are expected to pay over 200,000 in school fees, or God knows how much it is right now. I was in campus when school fees was about 16,000 per semester. Parents still could not afford that money. So I don't know what people expect out of some of these incompetencies. You're ruining people's lives. You're ruining people's chances of getting jobs. You're ruining people's chances of getting scholarships. Mnafanya vitu mbaya. I am very, very exhausted with this whole ID thing. I think the ones who've been following me in the past few days know I am very exhausted. Please, if you are in that office and if you are that person that has been handling Huduma Center social media handles, do not promise things that you know you cannot deliver. If you come to my DMs and tell me to give you my location so that you can deliver my ID, that you have stayed for almost 8 months now before you told me that there was a problem with my ID. Do that. Do the delivery. In fact, I have been told over and over again that Huduma Center does not offer that service. Why? What is Posta Kenya doing? Posta Kenya right now is just a building sitting there. Yeah? As Kenyans, in fact, where we are as a country, we should be getting home deliveries. If banks can do it, Posta can do it. I don't understand it. So if you are the person responsible for that, or you know the person responsible for IDs, I know that Professor were trying to push for this. And the reason why this scares me even more is Huduma Center turned around and told me they don't deliver, so I should go and pick it up. That is okay. But how am I supposed to show up at Huduma Center by myself, a woman by myself? If Professor was scared enough to go MIA from social media, I have a padlock on my door as I speak on this space. I have a padlock on my door. I had to talk to my watchman, to a boda, and what, just in case I go missing. They're asking me to walk myself there and go pick up that ID. No, I'm not going to do that. By myself, I'm not going to do that. So I don't know who's in charge of this, but if you know that person, tell them to release IDs. Because it is corruption and incompetence that is going on in there. And just to close, let me repeat that we are trying to create a database for missing persons. So please follow KumbiTrace. Go to kumbitrace.ke. KumbiTrace, just KUMBITRACE.ke. Sign up if you have any missing persons cases that you need to report. You can sign up and report there. You can DM us at KumbiTrace, or you can just tag us on the missing persons cases. I'll breathe for now, but I'm very angry. Thank you, Mitty.
Thanks. I think that's very important. We have a lot of people who were arrested and missing from yesterday. So You can even share in my DM or the chat box or any of the calls so that we can also amplify. I'm seeing everyone will speak. I want to bring Irene just for gender purposes, and then we'll bring Prof. Atueleze. I think there are some questions that were asked to him, and then we can add more speakers. Irene, I don't know if she can hear me. Irene, Aga. Okay. Prof, I don't know if you can hear me. I want you, number one, to tell us what's your take on what is happening politically. I think you are one of those people who have been there since when Kenya was fighting for multi-party. What do you have to say? Just a few minutes before we bring others. I don't know if Prof Kibuda can hear me.
Yes, BT, yes, I
First,
can hear
kindly,
you.
before you speak, I would like to ask you a question. Before you speak, Prof,
Okay.
I would like to ask you a question. Are you here because hujapewa cheo mahali ama you are here because you support the movement and believe in it?
Yeah, and also just to add on that, I think what is your take on this movement? What is happening in our what is your assessment of what is happening in the political scene? Because for me now, like we started with saying, we don't have an opposition. In my opinion, the judiciary has never been functional. The parliament is now, we don't have this side or the other side. The executive is one. So what is your take of what is happening? And what do you think is should be the way forward? Karibu.
Asanteni sana Kimuzi and BT and all who are in this space. And I'm happy really to be here. And I think those of you who have followed, I have been very consistent in terms of participating in many X spaces and commenting in terms of what's happening in our country, and sometimes writing about it and all that. Even today, I was able to say that Raila is no longer Baba, and really he has let down, Kenyans, young people, and it's really very regrettable because for a long time people have thought that he is a driver of reforms, of the evolution of the constitution and all that. For some of you who may know, in the second liberation, that is the fight for the Katiba, I was very much involved, especially in NCC, National Convention Executive Council, as the spokesperson of that movement. And we did a lot of work in civil society at the universities with young people, students, and young people in civil society to progress the Constitution of 20, which became the Constitution of 2010. So when I come to these spaces, I am still, even in my relative old age, pursuing that reform agenda, that change of our country, what the Gen Zs and the millennials are doing to get our country to be a working country. So I really believe in this, and even in our work in Makueni, although Mkenya did not seem to know quite a bit of what we did, but even in our work Makueni, we really tried to get a government which promoted what people wanted done, and with public participation, with value addition, with universal healthcare and all that kind of stuff. Now, for me, this movement is actually...
Mbiti, I don't know if I'm the only one who's not hearing anything from this space. Ama ni kila mtu.
No, it's audible. It's audible. Maybe let me drop you and then I bring you back on. I believe everyone is anaskia, Prof.
Okay, personally, I can't hear. Please drop me. Then.
So let me drop you and then I bring you back. Continue, Prof.
So I was saying that the first major movement in Kenya for our freedom was the independence movement, Mau Mau. And again, even that Mau Mau was sabotaged by the political class, the people who, the Jomo Kenyatta, a lot of those political people, apart from Jaramogi, Odinga, Bildad Kagia, but it was also sabotage because the British were able to make them the leaders, and the Mau Mau people did not feature as such. When we also did the second movement, that is the movement for multi-party and movement for the constitution, with some of the political opposition, again, the political opposition went to Moi, including Raila, in the IPPG. So again, the political opposition and the government came together, and that second movement, its power was diluted, and it was sidelined. And that is exactly what is happening in terms of the Gen Z movement, because this movement, one can say, has the power of Mau Mau in a different way. And even the demonstrations that you have been able to have cannot be likened to the demonstrations we used to have in the 90s. And your ability to use internet and all that, to use IT and all that, social media, and your way of organizing. So I believe in this movement. I am on record, and when I come to meetings and all that, like with John Allen Namu and places, because I can see that if we lose the power of this movement, it is likely that our country is going to go the ways of Sudan, the ways of South Sudan, the ways of these countries which have failed, including even a country like South Africa, which one didn't think that it could fail, but it is failing. And you have the opposition mad in corruption and in all those things, and not being able to deliver to the people. So the one thing that I want to say is your movement is very powerful, because if it wasn't, even with the losses and the deaths and all that and the brutality and all that, if it wasn't powerful, Ruto would not have invited Raila into the government. He would not have shared a government with anybody. So even the fact that he's been forced to share the government by people who are greedy means that he has felt the power of the movement. Of course, one thing that, and this has been said here, it is clear that whenever he was giving things which looked like concessions, they were not really concessions. Because whether it's the finance, withdrawal of the finance bill, Finance Act rather, then he signs the Appropriation Act so that the budget is being implemented as is. When he says that the cabinet, he has withdrawn people, most of them have come back, and we are not seeing quality in even the new ones, a lot of quality even in the new ones. So it is really it's really a game. And he said, okay, you think you guys are smart, I'll show you. I really am very smart. So what I know of the political class on the whole, maybe there are some exceptions, as you have indicated, but at the end of the day, both government and opposition will go to bed together when it suits them and when there's a challenge, just like during Mau Mau, during the NCA-NCC times, and during now the Gen Z times. And I think for Raila, maybe he has seen that he might not get the AU thing, and he has seen that he's now at the tail beat of his political career. So if he comes, he comes to bed with the president, it's okay for him. And even I'm not sure among those other politicians who are still saying that they will not get into the so-called government of national unity, the Kalonzo, Wamalwa, and so on and so forth. I would myself, I have considerable confidence in Martha Karua. Historically, at least she was of a progressive bent. But it's up to you to look at, if ever you want to do some work with some of the politicians, it's up to you to examine them so that we don't get the same thing like after the Arab Spring, when the people who replaced the departed government were still people of the old order. So that in North Africa, even after the Arab Spring, you didn't get fundamental change, which really, and I think the change you're asking for, apart from the details, it's just implement the constitution. Just make sure everybody counts. Make sure that there is, opportunity for the young people, like what Mkenya said about Kila Nyumba Kalila. That meant to every person the opportunity. And I think he when he said that we brought some milk from Mount Kenya, even if that was so, which it wasn't. I mean, you guys have to talk about the whole Kenya. You can't talk about any part not being together and so on and so forth. But I think you're asking for just decency, no corruption, implementation, and these are very, 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 very good things to ask for, because that is what we don't want our country to be a failed state like the other countries. So when you are dealing with the politicians, you will always know, the old politicians, you will always know that they can trick you. Some of them can come to you thinking that they are doing, they are well, and they mean well, and so on. So it's up to you to choose very well. But I would myself recommend that you consider, first of all, there are details of part of why the police are coming into Zimmerman, Githurai, and so on. According to them, they believe that's where most of the people come to demonstrate come from. So they come there to intimidate, so that people will start saying, we can't go back, we can't go to the demonstrations again. So this is strategy from the government side that you need to understand. That's what I myself think is the reason for the police into the night coming into people's homes and so on and so forth. I think that even if you decide that you are going to have a political party or political parties, keep the movement intact, so that there is a movement, and if you want a political expression, the political expression is different, so that the movement becomes the major thing. Like now, what you're saying is faceless, is classless, is tribeless, is all those things, because that's really the engine which will create the change that is required. And a party is something that will work later. If you wish to a party or parties, whatever you want to do, if you want to go that. So that would be one of the most important things. The movement must never be allowed to die, and it is the primary thing. And if you have a political expression, it is a subsidiary thing, because we know parties which are not driven by movements, we know that they turn out to be, people can get bought and all that kind of stuff. But you maintain your movement, even when sometimes you disagree, because people will try to make you disagree. You come back to each other, you share notes and all that kind of stuff. And I like the fact that truly the leaderless bit, which people don't understand, is the fact that just like the Black Lives Matter movement, the Occupy Wall Street movement, there are movements where there is functional leadership. If there's a task to be done, people do that. Like now, what you're doing, some people do this. If people have to go and get taken to hospital, other people do that. If there's a concert, they will do that. That's the new way, like, some of the books are saying, in terms of how organization these days is happening. It's not the old thing where there is one person who is on top and other people defer to them and all that kind of stuff. So it is a new way of organizing, and I think it is potent, and it should continue that way. If you wish, the people like us who were in the second liberation, we said that we can't come into your movement because we don't want to look like we are usurpers or we are coming to take over or stuff like that. But if ever you are ready to get some people to have an advisory role and you vet them properly, better than how these cabinet secretaries will be vetted, I'm sure. Even when you look at some of the conversations, you can see who would not have a problem coming to advise, and you work with them. But the most important thing is how to make a new leadership out of, because the people who are involved are in their 40s, are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. And we know from other places, we have seen leadership of 30-something being prime minister, even the MPs who are being elected, but if you let this thing get defeated, then Kenya will be a failed state. I can say that without, any fear of contradiction. Kenya will be a failed state. And finally, if I can speak about the IDs. First of all, when you're 18 and you don't have an ID, it's a crime. So if the system does not want to give IDs, it means that it is actually getting young people to be to commit crimes, because it's a crime not to have an ID when you're 18. And this is one thing that should just be pushed, so that all places where the IDs are given, sometimes in huko villages or wherever, huko kwa chief or sijui kwa nani, mahali watu wana apply, there has to be a movement of going there consistently mpaka watu wanasema kwamba lazima wapate, because the system knows in the last elections 8 million people didn't vote who are already registered, and about 3 to 4 million had not registered, and they were 18 and above. And there was also a group among those ones who didn't have IDs at 18. Now the Gen Zs who are 15, 16, and 17 as of now, those ones now will be able to vote. The Gen Zs who are 15, 16, and 17 will be able to vote in 2027. So if they don't have IDs, if they don't register as voters, then it means that a significant number of the young people will not come to vote. And this is one thing that the system is going to try as much as possible to get the young people not to vote, to get the diaspora people not to vote, and so on and so forth. So, as I
Professor.
conclude, yeah.
Oh, yeah, concluding. Yeah. No problem. Kindly wind up.
Yes, sure. So as I conclude, I can just say, you guys, you have something big. It's influencing Africa, and please just, this has to be done. And any help you need from wherever you need, I'm sure you'll get it. Not help of these things, propaganda of the Ford Foundation and stuff, but intellectual help, academic help, whatever help that you require. Thank you, Kimuzi, and all of you.
Shanky, you can go on.
Hello guys, I hope mko poa. So I had some few points that I wanted to make. Zingine prof amesema ni vitu tu nilikuwa nime-analyze situation vile iko and nika-realize. So one of the things me personally I feel like tuna approach this thing wrongly because we are winning na gava inafanya tukae ni kama we are not winning ama whatever we are doing is not working. Sorry. Whatever we are doing is not working. Like they're intentionally making us to feel hivyo ndio tujidoubt, but we are winning na it's working. And I feel like wase wengi, like we are losing the plot na we are losing it juu maybe wase wengi tukianza hii fight hawakuwa wanajua like what we are dealing with. Watu wengi hawakuwa wanajua the extent, but watu wenye walikuwa wanajua wana like hatuyuko emotional. Wase wengi saizi wako emotional. Wase wengi anytime Ruto Ruto plays his card, tunakuwa emotional, watu wanaanza kusema sijui we need leaders, sijui nini, like mambo tu mingi. Ni kama tulikuwa tuna expect to fight na yetu amenyamaza, like yetu, like kuna fight na mtu na yeye amekaa tu hapo anangoja apigwe tukikuja kwa hii staff tulikuwa tunajua tukirusha anarusha, so win yetu itakuwa determined na tunaweza rusha mara ngapi. Unaona, so one of the things like nawezataka kuwakumbusha ni tumekuwa tukiwin na bado tunaendelea kuwin, na msisahau hivyo. Ruto mwenyewe alikuwa vile alijoin, alisema kuna hiyo clip inazunguka, alisema haizi work na Raila, like haizi work na opposition kwa gava, but saizi amekuwa forced, ameingisha opposition, na nataka mrealize that Ruto is not like a new person to most of us. Si tulikuwa tunamjua before hata tuanze vita. Kenya amekuwa akifanya, mi ukiniuliza, kuna jamaa Tiela anaitwa Mugo. Umsi alikuwa na organize, he's a Kalenjin from huko Eldoret. Alikuwa na organize hizo protests za Eldoret, ana gather young people from campus. Alipigwa na malocals. Ni msetu hapo TL, naweza waonyesha, atanaweza tag hiyo picha yake akiwa hosi, like alipigwa manze na malocals mpaka akaenda akakaa hosi for some time, sijui kama ametoka, but alikaa hivyo, na vile alitoka aliambiwa asionekane tena kwa streets. Unaona, mpaka I think sijui ako hiding or something. So vile mi ukiniuliza mi vile na feel tangu hiyo mse apigwe, like kumekuwa na hizo story ukisikia kwa young people from Eldoret that kuna media blackout Eldoret, ndio maana mastori hazifiki, na pia watu wanatishiwa, so watu wanaogopa kutokea hiyo. Na vile prof amesema hiyo, kenye prof amesema about wasiwa Githurai na wasiwa huko place watu walininiwa jana Zimmerman, vile wanakutwa like ni kuintimidate ndo wasitokee protest. Ime make sense juu Eldoret wase walikuwa na nini wanapigwa na kuna media blackout ndo wasitokee. Zimmerman kumbe ni the same. Ukiangalia Rao, mi personally na feel one of the reasons Rao pia ameletwa ni kufanya protest ikuwe kidogo, like protest ikuwe ni kama ni kitu ya a certain group of people. Juu sasa amedhani akileta Rao hakutakuwa na protest uko Kisumu, Siaya, juu pia huyo msee sijui Ompio ni msee huko Siaya, huyu Obado ni msee huko Homa Bay, so nani anaitwa nani upse Oparanya ni wa Kakamega. Unaona Kakamega kumekuwa na protest mpaka walipiga guns. Siaya the same. Homa Bay, Migori hata kulikuwa na jana. So hawa wase pia wameletwa wa huko ndio hizi protest, like Kenya anafanya ni anajaribu ku contain the situation, na sisi tuoni, like sisi tuna lose hiyo focus. Badala saizi tunafaa tutumie hiyo opportunity kuonyesha watu, unaona hawa ni mapoliticians, hawa say the same, hakuna mtu different, like tusikuwe emotional, tujue tulikuwa tuna expect a play your game, na the more tunaendelea ku move, the more tunaendelea ku fight, the more tunawa expose. So the fact that tunawa expose ni a win for us, but sijui mi na feel kama sisi hatuioni hivyo. So other thing ni unaona tukianza ku ile time ya finance bill, au mapoliticians kulikuwa na wasi wa ODM ama wasi wa Azimio na wasi wa upande ingine. So wasi wa upande ingine wote walivote yes, wasi wengi, wasi wa huku kwingine walivote no, na watu walikuwa wameanza resistance against watu wa yes. So from place mi nimekaa, mi naona pia hii ni kitu yenye Prezo anajaribu Prezo alikuwa na lose parliament, but saizi vile analeta wase hatutakuwa like watu wenye walivote no watakuwa ni kama like hata hawa naona watasupport ama CS watawapitisha, na sasa ile rage yetu against watu wenye walivote yes ita reduce, like tutaona hawa ni the same, so unaona hatutawa box kwa ati ni watu wa Ruto. Unaona, sijui kama mna get kenye na feel, So hivyo ndo mi naona like and ivile ameleta ma CS ni atatuchanganya bado sisi akili tuone kumbe like atatuchanganya akili tuone kumbe tusi watu wa Ruto. So ile wenye tulikuwa tumeenda kwa wasi wa Ruto, tulikuwa tumeamua tupige wasenye walivote yes, hatutaona ni wao like hawa sendo wabaya, tutai imagnify kwa kila mtu, so yeye hatakuwa victim peke yake, watakuwa wengi yeye na Rao. So ni kama ameingisha pia Rao kwa shida. So mi na feel tunafaa tu tuendelee na demonstration vile iko na feel hii mambo zenye tunataka kuanza za leadership zitatuchanganya, sijui ma political parties, because na feel tumecreate something great manzi, na na feel hatujui the extent of kenye tume create like mi utembea huku streets, watu wana like we emancipating people's minds sana, na hawa si wa huku hawajui hata hizi vitu ati watu wana converge on Twitter. Wao wanajua tu young people tuko na the same voice. Ulisikia Paulo Kimani alisema vile alishikwa, watu kwa watu wakuwa wanajua ati LSK wanakuja kutoa watu walikuwa wamekuja huko juu wanajua manzi si tunajipigania. Sasa mi nashangaa hata tukianza sijui kuform political party sijui ma leaders, tutachagua aje au ma leaders, tuta make sure aje majenzi wote wako in sync na hiyo leadership, na hiyo ndo kitu gava wanataka kutu break. Saizi hizi hizi vitu zenye hizi ma CS wasi, unaona watu watajitoa kwa maandamano polepole juu wanataka kutu break, na tukibado hiyo kuleta ma leadership sijui nini political parties at this particular time, na feel itatu break, na feel hiyo ni kitu inafaa ikuje after tume move, but at this particular time na feel ita make sure tena itafanya tena watu wengine wa step back, watu wengine waone kumbe hii kitu haiwezi, na like tunafanya kitu poa. Uganda wanatuangalia, Ghana sijui walikuwa wanze yao, like kitu yenye tunadu ina work, na gavo wanataka kutuonyesha hai work, na tusiwache watuonyeshe hai work. Hiyo divide and rule ndio nini moja ya Ruto, na mi sitaki like na feel like we shouldn't let it you win. Saizi as I finish, saizi na feel vile wao wamekuja pia sisi, unaona wale ma-artist, unakumbuka zile time ya finance bill, mi kitu inanikasirisha kwanza ni ma-artist walitujoin time ya finance bill, after imeanguka wakajitoa. Sasa hizi tunafaa tuanze kucall out ma-artist, tunachiki vile tulicall out ma-artist, ma-brands sijui nini kina Kate, tuanze tena tuwaulize kama wewe una support regime ama una support the people of Kenya. Like saizi tufanye to go to rogue gorilla tu, na both kwa internet na kwa ground, like huku internet to make sure au wasanii sijui nini vile tulifafanyia time ya finance bill, watu waambie are you supporting the government ama are you supporting the people of Kenya. Hakuna in between hivyo, juu saizi wamenyamaza, wanarushaga tu mapost moja wanaingia nyasi, but tunafaa tu like to make sure tu kutoka saizi lines ziko straight, kila mtu anajua ana fall on which side.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I want to say it was a mistake to give Kibwana a platform hapa. A very big mistake. Because hajatuambia anything new from what nimesikia. Actually, he was lobbying for us to go to him atupatie advice. I'd like to say Kibwana, if Ruto angekupatia chance, ungekuwa CS, haungekuja hapa kutuambia I know that. So as much as umepatia platform, it was a huge mistake, and whatever you said, we rub it off, imeingia kwa masikio katoka kwa wengine. So next speakers, kindly, it was a mistake but a politician. Why? Anyway, who is the next speaker? MMS kwa
Patia Bosire.
Okay. Bosire,
But now
Dr.
wamenikanyagia wire every
I
time I
think
try to speak. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fantastic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yani mi hata nashanga saizi vile wasi wanaanza kuongea story za 2027. How do we strategize for 2027 yet now we continue to experience economic crimes, human rights violations, abuse of office and the assault to the media? How? Juzi Kasmuel aliuliza, you cannot ask me, alisema, you cannot ask me about what next when I don't know about now. Mimi nashangaa sasa vile wadau wanaanza kupanga stories za 2027. And then there's this consistent question, what is the strategy? Wase, 25th June we started the strategy. And we have been very consistent. And our strategy has 3 prongs. The first prong ni unity. Tumekuwa very united. Yani hata kuna wasi hatukuwa tunaonanga hapa kwa hii streets eye to eye, but now we have one clear goal. Good governance, accountability, and for people to be prosecuted for all the crimes they've committed, both criminal and civil. Wale wasi wamejaribu kubaiwa, tumewatupa, pia tumewatema. And that's very important. Sitawa mention majina ni kuwapea platform. Na saizi kuna list imekuwa shared hapa kwa social media, every single person who's been bought during this period by Gava wasi wa 530. Wadi platform wote. The second thing, we have been very consistent on communication. I mean, strategies, that's my work. And in our effective communication, we've known what our next steps have been. We've stopped to look at our successes. What have our successes been? Because they are buying on, I'm very fatigued emotionally. I'm very fatigued physically. That's very normal, by the way. I feel dejected. Today morning, I woke up and told some of my close friends, na feeling niko down kabisa. Man, until you Ruto akarelease your cabinet yake ya pili. Nikajiambia we, inject more. So the important thing that we have maintained effective communication, and we must maintain effective communication. The other third thing is that najua saizi kuna msali bonga mchana akisema ati sahi we become rowdy, we become violent. No, we are not burning, we are not stealing, we are not destroying, we are not going to lose human life. Hakuna msatadili kwa mkono yetu, because that's the tool that the masters have been using. We cannot use the same tool to bring down the oppressor. We have to think about other alternative tools. So violence cannot be our term because it's unconstitutional, it's against our statute, it's criminal. So at no particular point can we go out of what we already have, as we have statutes and we have a constitution that guides us in terms of how it is that we act. And this has been our, by the way, hii ndio imekuwa tulia tu. Hata umesikia Buda Professor Kibonga akasema at least that's a thing, because hakuna kitu out of the ordinary tunaitisha vitu kwa constitution. Now the other thing, and by the way, nimoteki Alanamu hapa, power to you bro, mainstream media wanasema you cannot shoot the messenger. So unafaa kushoot nani? Mwenye anapeana message, which is sisi peaceful protesters. You know what were they saying? I mean, you also must actually choose a side, and the side that you must choose is the side of justice, is the side of human rights, safeguarding of human rights. Amwezi sema ati leo kwanza mmereceive na IG, mshaona peaceful protesters wakireceive na IG ama ni mabullets, wanawapia story. And then you guys, from yesterday night until today, if it was not citizen journalism, hakuna tumesema kwa media about what's happening in Zimmerman, what's happening in Githurai. Ni saizi tu Larimado jana ndiye alikuwa zima kidogo. Sasa hivi kuna video yake ya mwisho anasema before mayutu walikuwa na dance kidogo, wanakuwa dispersed na mabullets. Mko wapi nyinyi? What stories are you? And then you keep platforming this regime, you keep giving them time. You're the same people who this government told that watacha ku advertise na nyinyi kwa sababu you are anti-government. Your work is to be objective. Your work is to be impartial. Your work is to report the news as it is. It's not to distort facts. Why are you distorting facts by giving one regime, less than 1,000 people, a huge platform to propel their lies and to cover up their crimes? Why? Where is the objectivity? Alafu then when you start seeing them, they're coming for kina Alanamu, wanaanza kusema they are being funded. No, all of us who work, even you, if you work in healthcare, at one particular point umekula paracetamol imenunuliwa na mzungu, ama imenunuliwa na some person. Even vaccines zile tunapea watu hii, Gavi, who gives Gavi the most money? So nobody should tell you here we are bought. No, then that means your healthcare, your education is bought. Somebody else is paying for it. So we can't use that. So when they come and then you platform them that way, and then you give them airtime about that, munapea singolei platform akamkudanganya wase, and then it's tweets ndio tunaenda tunatafuta, tuna realize he was actually a beneficiary of their funders. So that cannot be the thing. You must remain objective. Now let me tell you guys, if you don't do this now, we don't make our country right now, the next regime will use the same tactics which have been replicated from the Moi era until now. Kuna msee amesema angalia hiyo skodi sahi ya Ruto ameweka sahi. Hiyo ni ile skodi ya baba aliingia nayo. Hiyo ndio skodi, hiyo ndio from Kanu times. Moi before he died he said Kanu is going to rule for 100 years. It just keeps changing form. Inajita Azimio, inajita ODM, inajita Ford, inajita Kenya Kwanza. It is still the same tactics. And that's why violence for them becomes the one tool to be able to reduce protest. It instills fear. It makes people feel like, you know what, we live at their mercy. I need people to know we have 50 million against motherfuckers who are less than 1,500. That's a fact. That's a fact. So we must be able, these progenies of Moi, by the way, let me tell you, in the last, I think the last tweet I wrote, I told Baba how he has massacred the constitution. But I said this is the end of us looking up to this man, personally, old man. And I say this as a kid who grew up in Kibra, where he was my MP for more than 15 years. And I said, that's the end. And the end meaning, and this is one of the things, even if we rubbish what Professor said, is this is the beginning of a new era. It's a beginning of defining what politics look like in this country. It's a beginning of defining what accountability looks like according to Article 6, Article 10. It's a beginning of what we want the governing structures to look like for this country. We don't. I heard somebody say that you must organize in a political party. Why do we need to organize in a political party right now? Right now we are cleaning house. Unawezaje kuja saizi unaanza kupanga cabinet hapo na ma TV ukitoa ukiweka masofa set na chini bado hujaosha. Clean the house first. So we are cleaning the house. And you know the beautiful thing about we have a structure in which we can clean this house. So na bado ndio tumeanza. Now someone is also now cumulatively we are asking about strategy. So I said about 3 things that you must maintain. You must maintain unity, effective communication, and anchor every action that we take on the rule of law. Already we have multiple approaches. Now what's next? See, we already have peaceful protests. We have social media because now mainstream media may decide inafanya vile inafanya. We have the citizen media recording everything. Civic education ile may happen saizi in the last 1 month has not happened since this country got its independence. Unapata juzi mama mboga amesema mimi nimekaa mko barabara mtu wangu ameniexplainia nikarealize umse alikuja kwa soko. Hapo Githurai they went. Pale wanashoot sai wase. Walikuwa Githurai hapo sokoni wakiambia hustler. Sasa jana walienda kwa mahasla kwa mada. They went there. The one who went on campaign on the back of hustlers has gone back to the hustlers to kill them. And we must ask ourselves that every time there's a protest, why do they target poor people? Why? First say education, healthcare, security, maji, food. Yani ana struggle it's hand to mouth. Alafu anarudi hapo atakuja tena hapo wachape ruabe. Angalia mafala wa bodaboda. Mini doki, mbiti yako hapa. Anakusho so wanapatanga ma accidents zingine mbovu kwa barabara. Wanakaa mhosi, mnaanza kuambia unajua ni aje, this is a compound fracture we need a plate. Gava inuangi plate. Wewe unafaa uende kwa familia yako the plate is more than 300,000. Mtaita harambe ngapi za watu wa bodaboda ngapi? So jana tunaona they are the ones who are bought and looters, you know, hao ndio wanakamwa kwa magoons. It is very wrong. That means kuna places that tujapakulate na tunafaa kupopulate vizuri. So the other strategy is to think about where are the professional bodies for these people. Wakwapi farmers, wakwapi waswa boda, wakwapi waswa mtani mayut. Hapo ndio pia tunafaa kuingia. Na hizi vitu azifanyike ati sijui phase 1 phase 2. See, they happen concurrently. Tumesema ni aje Thursday tuko hapa na hapa tunaenda celebrate our heroes and heroines. Tuko hapo saa 2 tu bado tuko na wasi wa boda. Hapo tuko na mafarmers. Hapo tuko na wamadha. Msi amesema ati you know this voter suppression is going to be very tricky for us to be able to choose the leaders. See, our parents have ID cards. Me, I'm a millennial, I have an ID card. So how are we leveraging? What is the low-lying fruit? The low-lying fruit is to make sure Stella Bosire votes right. The low-lying fruit ni kukaa kwa paro wako na maanko zako na cousins. Mwambie ni aje kabla sisi hizo ma ID zetu sahi watakuwa na voter suppression, you people must vote right. Najua watakuja kwa line waambie vitu zingine wakupatie ruabe. Mimi sikwambii uchukue ruabe msichukue ruabe, lakini pesa ijai kuwa mbaya kama wewe ni maskini. But enda pale make your own decision. Chukua hiyo dona ukitoka umrudishie umwambie shika pesa yako. Mimi nimevote independently. You must be able to do that. As I finish, whatever method we use, be it social media, be it physical, be it when we write op-eds, you know, kuna wale si unaandika tu vi bold. Kuna mtu amesema hapo hawezi tumada akatumada si wote. More than 70% of us are young people between the ages of 15 and 40 in this country. Hawezi tumada wakamada si wote. That space ile uko nayo, we must use multiple approaches. We are creating history as a country, and we are anchoring it on democracy. Na msiasi wauzie fear hapa at you are going the Sudan way. And I felt very uncomfortable when you use Sudan as an example as a Pan-Africanist. I mean, we all have to be uncomfortable when an African country bleeds. So we are creating history as the first country within the continent that will push out a regime, a rogue regime, but will push out anchored on the law. That we are not going to do anything, part after shortcuts, hatutaua watu, hatutafanya nini, hatutaiba. Apana, we will not tell this country. We will anchor it on the law. And then when we objectively look at this constitution and say, ni wapi tulikosea? Ni wapi hatuna terms of reference? Kama saizi, madre saizi inaanza, msiwa madre, na which is true, which is a fact. Iko hapo mbele. Msi ako na corrupt, ako kwa hii, undanyi saizi, ni undanyi, not undanyi, what's his name? Oparanya. Juzi imeona media ime-highlight. Wako na economic crimes. Unapewa. Sasa kazi yetu ni si kuchange your constitution, ni kuenda kuireform. Tutaandika hiyo time yetu wenye tusha clear house. Saa zile unakuja, hii constitution ilitupatia a broad base. We are going to break it down into who can be a cabinet secretary, who can be a member of parliament, who can be an MCA, who can take up leadership in this country. We will define them. Lakini where we are right now, Banawase, we have a perfect structure. We have a perfect structure that will get us to the next point. Msiasi kuenjoy ati saizi tumetoka ati what next? We're already there. Saizi tuna hold space moja, hakuna politician anaweza mobilize wase hivi. And so the other thing wameshindwa to infiltrate again is the power of our voice, which is on social media. And the beautiful thing that we are doing in the social media is asino asama fact. Ona kama unaleta story yako tunakupea tu facts. Nimecheki msee leo anaitwa aje mother wa kudance. Akisema we are sexist. Me, I'm a feminist. All of you know that. Asema we are being sexist by asking about the current minister for defense who has been not current nominated. Me, I say sexism is appointing someone who does not have the qualification. Sexism is tokenism. You're giving someone a docket that they have no qualification about. If you compare that person with their counterpart in other countries, then you ask yourself, Bana, what is that? That's sexism in my world. Sexism is being able to subvert the constitution. Sexism is not recognizing that the will of the people is the will of the people. And we are the people. We are the people, wasi. We are the people, tafadhali. Msiwai sahau hivyo. Hata mkidozi leo na tulale atulie. Msisahau we are the people. Now I say, by the way, wameogopa. Mjorezo leo wameogopa. Alikuwa amechapa kifua akaona manzi hawa vijana hawa relent. Akadecide sasa ni aje anaendea mzae. Leo nimeambia mzae point blank. Nikaambia mimi I've supported you. But well, let me tell you, you have massacred, you have miscarried, you have broken down our constitution. That's a legacy I'll remember you for. That's a legacy we'll remember him for. Hakuna story nyingine ati msee ataanza kutuambia 1992, 19 fact that those years. It is how you finish. It is how you finish. And he's chosen to finish when 60 plus blood of our comrades is on the ground. When mothers are burying their children prematurely. Hakuna mother, hakuna parent anataka mtoi wake. Every parent says, I want my child to bury me. But they've made mothers bury their own children. They've made fathers cry publicly. Buda Rex adilia. Anasema mtoi wangu amemadwa lakini atikuwa kara walimshoot bado anatembea. Mama Eric alisema nini? Alisema Ruto, si una watoi. Never know peace. Msiogope kuongea. Msiogope. Penda ule comrade alisema we will die eventually. Mbiti na mimi doctor, we will die eventually. But the other way in which we have to ask ourselves, are we dying in dignity or are we dying without dignity? That's the thing. And so, by the way, we are already dying metaphorically. Sazilo unakama hapo unakosa mpaka za cabbage. Wewe landlord kila siku anakufungiaga na kifuli 3. Uwezi peleka watoi wako shule fiti ama uwezi pata kosa unataka. Uwezi access capital kwa mabanks kwa sababu pia wametook over banks. You can't do that. You cannot do that. And if you cannot do that, then fundamentally, you are already dead. Wewe unamkanga tu when he living dead. When he go, you are a ghost. Hakuna vile unaweza niambia ati we are trying to live, right? What are you living? Una live nini saizi? Na wana loot. Una live nini saizi? Uko na mse kama DVD na kama anaitwa parliament anasema ati ilikuwa senate ama alikuwa wapi? Anasema ati hapana tujauza JKIA alafu JKIA inatoa statement. Si wajinga wasi. Alafu you know the brilliant thing is that you are all educated. Formally or informally. Manze tunashikanisha. Kama tushikanishi, kama Kimuzi ashikanishi law ataniambia Bosire hebu ni interpret hii. Kama mimi sishikanishi mambo za account, mimi nitatafuta soko analyst. Mambo za business, mambo za economy. Kuna mse kwa hii movement anaelewa hizi vitu. Mkikwama kwa healthcare mtakamniambia ni aje bosi. Sasa hebu tu unpackie shift. By the way, acha nisianze story ya shift. Mkidhani JKN ndio take over, mnafahamu anze kujiuliza kwa nini sasa hii Medi hili imeangushwa? Kwa nini sasa hii NHIF imeangushwa? Kwa nini shift? Na kwa nini ukiangalia most of those appointments in the chairs of those subsidiaries which are for shift, which right now are unconstitutional, zilikuwa zimepewa wasi wako affiliated to Orezo, the former chairperson for example for Amaco. Anda kudunini uko digital, una competency gani? Alafu ile kitu mimi napenda ni our facts are, mimi usinipe job jili mimi niko na nyap, mimi ni dem. Ama kwa sababu unani tokenize, it's tokenism. Nipatie job ukijua naweza chapa hii job. Alafu nipe terms of reference. Terms of reference zangu ni ABCDFGH. Let me deliver. And then nikwe appraised. Mimi sijui kwa nini hawa sio wakisha kuwa appointed, they don't go back to that parliament to be appraised. Hiyo ni job gani? You must go back to the people who employed you. The people who to appraise you, your performance. Aki appraise performance yako anauliza ABCDFGH. But because we already are rotten from the top, we cannot even put such accountability structures to be able to check out on people and say, this is a good leader, this one aende home. That is the country we want. That is where we are heading. Wacha nikunywe maji. Asante. Kimuzi, back to you.
All right, thank you so much.
Milan.
So I'll give the next speakers in this order. Wamengoja sana.
Milan. Milan, nawachia calls juu there is something I want to do for the next 2 hours or 3, and nimesikia chenye Bosiri amesema. Actually, the 2 days ago, or it was 1 day ago, I hosted the brother to Shieni, Eric Shieni. If you remember Eric Shieni, who was shot outside parliament, and one thing he said, alisema do it for my brother. Alisema hajaiona kitu kaa hiyo. And one thing anasema chenye tu alikuwa happy naye peke yake ni that the brother never struggled. Ilikuwa headshot. Like anasema don't relent kwa hii fight. Just do it for my brother. I really wish I'll play, nitatafuta that clip I played for you. It was so sad kusikia hiyo. It was so sad kusikia akisema what will I tell my mother? Yeye ashajua Sheni ameenda and hajui chenye ataambia madhe. Madhe anangoja your brother ako wapi? You know. So chenye Bosiri amesema it's so, watu wanaona it's from a point of radical point of view, but it's no longer radical point of view. We are just being realistic, but we are being realistic in a hard manner. That's the language of hardliners. All ya tunajua. Thank you. Let me sit the mic. I'll be off for 3 hours. Kindly give mostly small wigs. Juu hao ndio wako na voice pia sana and they have ideas.
Asante sana Kimuzi. Sixus, nimecheki 6,000. Uko mkono yako iko juu, unaweza bonga. Alafu utafollow na Carol na X Holding.
Yeah, so I want to say this. First of all, we'll win this war if we are able to see through the bullshit that is happening right in front of our eyes. So that is if we decide to filter what information we are consuming and from who, when, why, and how. Why am I saying this? I heard Shanky mention the likes of these content creators, social media, whatever. I was giving a good example of Caliph Cairo to a certain group, and I said Cairo went out to protest because there was a motor vehicle tax that was introduced, which was going to affect his business directly. Hawa watu wa TikTok walitoka because kulikuwa na some tax with digital content creation or something. So it angered them and they left their houses to go out there and fight. And after the finance bill was dropped, most of them walirudi their comfort zone. Now here there is me and you who believe there is hope for a better country, a country that can perform better, a country that has potential. And I actually say I'm an investor in this country, and my returns will be good governance, no corruption, no nepotism, no tribalism, no recycling of leaders. But we've been given an option to keep recycling leaders each and every time, and the political class is taking us for a ride. What do? We are not going to give up. We should wake up and go and fight. Personally, I'm not giving up. Yesterday, I was roughed up by goons along Outer Ring Road, kama nimeenda out from Andamano. Lost my specs, which I got today. And this war is not going to be won by one day. People who are now coming to give up, say, go get allies, go get what. When William Ruto realized that we do not have allies, he started purporting lies out there. Ford Foundation, whatever foundations, the opposition, they have cornered up to Uhuru Kenyatta, who doesn't even want to respond to them. And this is a point you should understand. This man is worried about whatever he's fighting. And the moment we decide to look for an ally, they will corner us. They'll go to those allies and they'll say, these are the people who are funding this movement. And the moment they get us to that point, it means we have lost. But if we stand strong and now face our big problem, and this goes to Kimuzi, this is our big problem. We are not uniting as a people on this app to go and project this information to the silent majority, to the majority of the people who have given up. There is something Professor said here, and I agreed with him. William Ruto was sending fear, and that's why he goes to Githurai Zimmerman. He's sending fear to these people because majority of those people, who are Tokyo 25th, they came from Thika Road. And akishaona hiyo mbogi ya Thika Road, when he kills that mbogi anaona ametuua. So he's sending fear so that people should not come out and say polisi wanaua. Now this makes us stronger. We should wake up. Kimuzi, go team up with all the possible people who have voices on this app, and we decide we will hold one major space. Pride tuweke kando. If it comes to this country, there is no pride. Kuna watu huku, they have a saying, tuamke na tuseme, now it's time to wake up and go liberate this country. It is high time we have to
Is
unite.
someone speaking? Mnamsikia?
Tunamsikia.
It's high time we have to wake up. And the moment we wake up, that is when we will realize our full potential. Imagine Kenya will be hosting AFCON, yet we don't have a stadium. My friend Kowino said somewhere, Gor Mahia, 20-time KPN champions, they don't have a stadium in Kenya. Yet Simba have a very good stadium in Tanzania. We are playing our games in Malawi. And who do we have as somebody in charge of sports? Murkomen. Is that enough? No. Oparanya has only built a road that goes until to his mother's door in Western, where the mother sells changa, which is an illicit brew, a type of alcohol that is killing millions of Kenyans. Joho is a drug dealer. Let us not even start mentioning other people. We are not ready to take this bullshit. I'll tell all Kenyans right now, this is the time. Now is the time to wake up. Wake up from your sleep. You are not fighting for Kimuzi. You are not fighting for Bosire. You are not fighting for me. You are fighting for yourselves. And the moment you realize that you're fighting for yourself, that is when you'll get power. You'll get that energy to go out on those streets. Don't sleep. Hata hii maandamano tuache kufikiria that ni Tuesday peke yake. Tuamke basi tukamp tao. If William Ruto wants to kill all the 50 million of us, let him kill all of us. Let him come and kill all of us. Me personally, nilishasema, I'm not afraid to die. And I'm saying this, I'm responsible for the words that I'm saying here, William Ruto. I will mobilize many youths to make sure that they see through your lies. If we keep on listening to this guy, he's a strategist who knows how to play his cards. And I'll tell you, right now he's thinking about 2027, whereby he has killed the opposition. He will not have any strong opposition going to those elections. But we should stand up and give him a challenge that will take him home early in the morning. And we are not taking him home in 2027. Before this year ends, William Ruto should be on his knees when he's being prosecuted and being sent to Shimon Atewa or committee or ICC. Because when we are done, we will go down to each and every corruption case that has happened in this country. When I wind up, I'll tell you, there is somebody who told me, I'm winding up and say this, there is somebody who told me in the morning, why won't we partner up with these newspapers so that we can print information yenye itafikia watu? And this is the case, this is the story he told me. Even Aden Duale himself doesn't know about this maandamano that much. His KPIs for June and July was GSU, the Kenyan army walistopisha maandamano Nairobi town. Why? Because the PS wanawafikishia information yenye si mbaya. The PS are on these places. They come here to listen, then they come filter the information, wanapeleka. Hata information inafika huko juu pia ni ya uongo. And if we now start getting through these people, mtu akifungua gazeti hivi and all they can see is Gen Z, this and this happened. The other thing is about boycotting these companies that are saving their money with IMF, the likes of Akina Colgate. If you go and research, you'll get Colgate are among the biggest people who are saving their money with IMF, and they're still selling those products to us here, local. Anyways, I'll tell you lastly, wake up as Kenyans and fight. Thank you.
Asante. Carol Otieno, and then we have X Holding. I think you have new speakers. Milan, maybe we have like 100 people who've requested. So if it's possible, ukame bonga tu tuite mse mwingine abonge alafu we consolidate our thoughts together. Go ahead, Carol.
Okay, thank you for the space. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so me naonge kama ordinary person mwenye anaonanga whatever is going on. I'm not able to participate in the protest because bado niko na watoto wadogo. And for that matter, mimi tu swali nauliza. Sisi sasa ndio tunaangalia tu morals, like we want to do things according to the constitution. But something funny, the president anasemanga is following the constitution, but it does against the constitution. So my question is, if we can play his game, vile afati anything to do with the constitution, we also do our things the way we know, the way we, in the right way, like kama wenye walikufa, polisi mwenye aliua ule nje ya parliament, hajashikwa hajafanyiwa anything. So my idea is, huyo polisi tukimwona kwa streets, si hata sisi tumuue because already alishaua. We are waiting for the government or the IPOA to take the role or whatever they do, but so far they do nothing. Wanasema sijui witness waende watoe witness zao, but unaona hakuna kitu yenye wamefanya. So mimi, if we are continuing, we just do it the bad way, the way they are doing it. Mimi, as for Raila, niliacha kumsupport 2013. So anything he's doing now, I'm not surprised because after all, he's just a con man. And that is how I think all the politicians are. And for the movement, I would suggest maybe me and the few, we need to get our leaders. At least wenye wataongea, sasa ile kutupe psych, tuende tuongea na watu pia mashinani. The thing that we are leaderless, we should change it. Yani, twende tuongee na watu huko ushago. Mimi I'm talking to my dad because yeye pia alikuwa anasupportingi Raila so much, but in our house sahi hata wameanza kuchange kwa sababu I tell them Raila ana vie against Ruto, anasema Ruto ni mbaya, alafu Ruto akisha win says watu wamekufa kwa streets, anaenda anapewa Kenya, anapewa anatulia. So nyinyi mnangojea Raila aongelee, but hakuna kitu yeye atasema juu ashapewa pesa, amenyamaza. So me, anything to do with Raila, I'm not surprised, and that is him. Yeah, I just said those few words. Thank you.
Asante sana, Carol. I'm just going to say this before ex-holding on Babonge, that right now the one tool that the government has to use, and this is a proven strategy for all the governments that have been pushed to the wall on accountability, is the criminal law. Kumaanisha, they will use the criminal law against you. Ukimada msee wanakukujia, ukiharibu property ya msee wanakukujia, ukitukana msee, not kutukana msee, if you go against any crime, assault, harassment, everything wanakukujia. So msiwape kadi. You know, right now people have been talking about libel and saying that a lot of what's happening within social media, people will be prosecuted. Na mliona walifanya hivyo on Guido Francis on the Data Protection Act and the computer misuse. But then there are 3 tests. Lawyers hapo watawaambia. Msezi kuambia tu ati leo ati you said something which is not true. It is actually the burden of proof is not on you to prove yourself you say the right thing. No, the burden of proof is on them. So ukiambia mse ka sisi magazetini parliament wase wamepelekwa akaambia wewe ni mse wa madre, wewe uko na kesi ya crimes, economic crimes ziko hapo mbele, wewe utaambia tu magistrate ama judge, but these are things which are facts. So mse asikushtue, the facts remain factual, because the other thing nimeona pia ni propaganda. That's another thing that they're using. Musi fall into that temptation. But hapo kwa crime, by the way, that's the only thing. If you see what happened the other day, when they were doing postmortems of young people who were shot in City Mortuary, walisema ati ni mob justice. Mob justice gani na kuna mabullets? So hapo tu Karo ndio mimi naweza kukusihi tu. Hapo tu kwa aura ya crime tuweke nje. Lakini I love that you're doing at kwao yenu civil education. Asante. Ex-holding?
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes.
I was actually going to go with that on the fact that at least let us not make it easy for them, but to also make the work of Faith and the whole SK team easy, because there will be arrests as long as they're going to continue with this. There will arrests that will go be there, a lot of them. So let's make the work of the Faith and group very easy when they come for us at the courts or at the cells. So let's obey the law. The thing of targeting individual businesses, I'm against it. I will never participate in it. We have ways to deal with them. We are dealing with the government. I'm not dealing with Kinuzi. I'm not fighting Kinuzi as a person. I don't agree with, if he's in government, with his view, and I want it removed. And the only way for him to be removed is either go through the constitutional way, which is longer, or through the Ruto way. Ruto must go, and that requires me to be on the street, peacefully seated for economic shutdown. That's one. Two, the last speaker, I think before me or just before you, who had said you want leaders. You don't want leaders, because you see, they've been coming for leaders at first. They tried forming groups. They came for what they wanted 147 people to meet and all that kind of stuff. They didn't get. They came to funding. Ford didn't get. What was happening yesterday is trying to find tribe. They're none. Now, if you come, the leadership we have here is one. Unity, as the Daktari had said earlier. That's the leadership we have. We have no direct person, because even then if we have to get those ones, it's easy for them to target and not really kill them or what, just give them jobs. The politician you had put here earlier, the only thing is against Raila is because he did not get a chance to begin a position. So yes, those people will be bought. Even if we have Dr. Daktari today, next given some seat in the government, the leadership goes. So we are left with nobody. We start recruiting again. So let's just stay with the way we are. It makes us easy to distance ourselves from those who will join the government at any point of this fight. So leadership thing, I don't know why it's a topic now. I don't know why it's a topic, and because there's been one of the things successful. They first came to us, then went to Raila. The reason why they went to Raila because they didn't have no leader. So Raila was coming in the sense to control as somebody has said, to make the demonstration, to lower the numbers of people on the streets. So no leader thing, please let not be our topic. Now, the second thing, for Raila thing, it's sad, but it has happened. And please, as I had spoken earlier, let's just know one thing. Any politician, the only reason why they're going to be on our side, the very politician that some of them one day voted no and was loud against no, but now is in government, or rather is going to be in government. I know Parliament is united, so it's going to go through, the vetting will be through. So please, anything politician, let them be away. Even they can come, they can join maybe in the street. You cannot lock them at home. But let them not identify as if they are the leaders. If they have something to share information online, we'll retweet, we'll read, extract what we have from that, from whatever they've shared, use it, and confirm with other sources, use it. We have a lot of brains in different fields, but I don't think Buddha is the only sole person with something. No, honestly. And I know some of you even related to the very politician you're talking about. You can extract that from them and share it maybe directly or anonymously. So please, the politician thing, leadership thing, let that thing of the past, let it be gone. My concern, as I was asking earlier, just one. This thing of the long game, honestly, it's 2027, it's parliamentary, it's recall. That is pure bullshit. It's not going to work. So the only weapon you have, you can talk the whole day, taking time off mandamana and everything. But the only thing that will work as I speak today is constant daily protest from 7 a.m. to 5, or is it 6? The time for, as per the constitution, 6 or 6:30, somewhere there, daytime that is. And then you wake up tomorrow again, you start the same thing in a quiet, peaceful way. You can sit. You don't even have to go to town. For me, I live in Eastlands. I can decide to either block, sit on the road, Jogo Road, or even this other highway, the outer ring. It will still function. Let everybody get inconvenienced to pass a message. Also denying the government, the county government, and the government at large money to steal. If we can do that one between now and vetting, even the MPs at Parliament will see, this, as they call us, these Gen Zs or these kids, they're still on this game and they're really, really serious. But if by the time they're vetting, things are quiet to plan one day more, they'll just do their thing on a Tuesday. If we go to them on a Monday, on a Tuesday, they can do their thing on Tuesday, on Monday, and then on Wednesday, and then on Friday, the days they're not in the street, and be successful. But if by the time they're going to do the vetting, the first person goes to Parliament, it is still hard. It's still tough. They have to hire lorries of security, have come with to find their way into the Parliament. So you have to decide. And the best time to decide now, between now and the vetting period. They'll know, even those MP that we know they're going to pass that one, but they'll do that one knowing very well these people are watching and they're still mad for the things that Ruto have brought back, and we must stop it. So please, in a planned demonstrations, Thursday, tomorrow, we rest on weekend. Ruto goes to church, goes to church at his background. We know how the background works, and then get the support, go back to State House. Then no, we can't allow that. So we have to decide. We have to decide now. Is Zingine story mingi, what will happen, what GID is an important thing. But then, as per the constitution is, the idea, if it will come, is only the word that you're going to put forward that will make even those specific system work. The one thing that will make those ID get released, only if you put effort. Other than that, it will not work. Because, okay, fine, we have ID. We now have to wait up 2027. So please, it's a very important thing, but let's, the game now, one goal is root out constant demos. That's all.
Asante sana Exholding. Wacha nijitetee kiasi. Mi nikipewa job ya gava, if I don't align, I don't. And people know. When Sonko appointed me to be CC for health, I said, fuck no. I'm not going to allow to a government that does not value integrity, transparency. Actually, there's an article that was written around that. Kulikuwa na nepotism and a lot of abuse of office. I can't. And so that means that, and that's why I keep saying, this country does not have a vacuum of leaders. Sisi wote tumekaa hapa ni ma leaders. So there are multiple ways in which we can lead. I said I will serve Kenyans in multiple ways, in my voice, in my activism, in my professional space, and I have. So msi asikudanganya hapa ati lazima kuwe na the old people who are working because they know the government well. No, that structure is very easy to understand. Cherry McKenna, to you.
Okay, thank you so much for the mic. I just want to start with what I think is the priority and what I think we should not forget, because even the timeline has already started changing. And knowing Ruto and knowing the criminal that he is, we should recognize the games that he plays with us. Him bringing back the CSAs, he knows that will change the conversation. But we know what happened yesterday in Zimmerman, in Githurai, and we know what has been happening in Kwari. And we must not move on from that. When Mkenya Daima spoke, I was very, very impressed because I really relate to that. And even though a few of you have like not agreed entirely with it, me, Mkenya Daima, I'm fully behind you. This government has gone completely rogue, and it's time we realize who we are dealing with. We don't have to turn into goons, but we have to protect ourselves. These people have made it impossible for us to protest peacefully. They have made it impossible. We are dealing with people who are abducting us without number plates, without police uniform. We don't have weapons. You're seeing people being beaten up and the only thing they're holding is a flag. That is insane. We're seeing people, Jana, that video of Sijui, someone trying to enter their house, wanna scream, wanna leer, please don't shoot me. Mnifungulieni mlango, these people want to shoot me, and they still shot him. These are the people we are dealing with. It's time we protected ourselves. And so it's time we also realized that we're dealing with a criminal at the presidency. And I know some of his goons are here also. And it's time, you guys, the 10,000 plus of you that are here, that we realize that we're dealing with a criminal at the presidency. That man is a criminal. I won't even sanitize or sijui nini my words. So knowing what we know, we have to move forward accordingly. And I like what, I don't know who it was, one of the hosts said, usikuje tu hapa utuambie, we have to strategize, we have to strategize, we have to strategize. Tell us what are the strategies. And one of my suggestions for a strategy, for the strategies we can employ moving forward, is we have to have a clear agenda. By now, we know Ruto must go is the main message, but it's like there's so many people who are not confident about pushing that as the main thing. And when we say Ruto must go, guys, you have to realize we're saying Ruto must go. Ruto must leave office. Ruto and Gachagua must leave office. And for 60 days, the speaker takes over and the re-election is done. Article 146 of the Constitution provides for that. So when we say Ruto must go, we are saying Ruto himself and Gachagua must go, not a cabinet. Because you guys have realized this rot is at the head. There's nothing Ruto will do right now that will change. Even he cannot bring, do you know how much do you know how shameless you have to be to bring in the same CSs you fired? It's like he's looking at these Kenyans and he's not moved by these protests. He's not moved by any of these things. He's not even scared. That's the statement he sent out by bringing back these CSs. So the first strategy I would suggest is we have to have a clear agenda and push that agenda. As at now, there's no other thing I'm pushing. Hakuna ku dissolve CSs, Ruto must go. That's the message. And the rot is at the head and he must go. And because I believe so much in this message, we have to now start organizing and strategizing towards this. I don't know how open we are to this, but I honestly think the time is ripe to start fronting our next president. When Ruto was president, when Ruto was deputy in Uhuru's time, he started campaigning in I don't know, it was year 2. That's why we used to call him Tangatanga. We wonder what's wrong with this guy. And we have to start fronting who our next candidates will be. It doesn't have to be one person, but we have to make our options known now. And we have to, those people who are intending to lead this country have to make themselves known now, because that's the direction we're going when we say Ruto must go. So we have to start pushing for our next president.
Thank you so much.
The other thing is,
Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm gonna hurry.
Right.
The other thing is, I'm seeing John Allen here, and man, just take this message to the other media. I know you're not mainstream, but they need to get serious. But even if they don't, the 10,000 of us here, the other strategy is deplatforming mainstream media and creating our own media. If it means creating our own YouTube, our own Twitter, our own TikTok, and just pushing that because on TikTok already it works well because citizen journalism exists there. It's just that everyone is on their own. But if we can have one page where all these videos are put regarding the country, then it would work really well, and then any money generated from those accounts go to like our own causes as a country and things like that. That would work in our favor, because we've seen the media is not on our side. Sorry to say, but that's the truth. We have to accept it, and now we are on our own. We are the media, we have accounts, and the people with influential platforms need to really, really rally behind us. And then finally, we have to deplatform the people who are our enemies. Earlier today, I know Kimuzi said he left and he's not here, but one of the hosts maybe could just I don't know, tell him. But earlier today, he tweeted something in the lines of like, Kina Cairo, we don't have to boycott them, and we can just like deplatform them. And I disagree with that, because we have to treat this thing with the seriousness that it deserves. The Kina Cairo are it's not just opinions. People have died. People are dying. You guys saw the videos. You've been seeing the videos, and if you've been on the street, then you feel the pain differently. These are not just opinions. These people are not just betraying, in quotes, like a cause, a small cause. This is a serious thing. What they are doing is serious. And so I want to urge anyone here who wants to boycott their businesses to do so. What they are doing is beyond betrayal. And if you want to go beyond deplatforming them and boycott their businesses, you are fully justified to do so. And I know I said this is the last thing, but the other thing is, this thing is leaderless, but it doesn't mean that no one is a leader. It means everyone is a leader. So this thing of saying or tweeting, somebody should like make what somebody. The other day I saw someone tweeted, somebody should create an account for like the missing persons, and I tweeted and replied, why don't you do it? Because even me, I'm not a graphic designer, but I started making posters just for the missing people. Like, there are things that we can do. You don't have we don't have to outsource courage from, because even Kina Hanifa, they are exhausted, they can't do everything. All of us have to pull our own weight. So yeah, that's all I'll say. Thank you so much for giving me the mic, and let's not cower. These people are banking on our fear, and they have to go. It's unacceptable.
I really like the way you finished that we all have a role to play, But I also want to appreciate right now the ICT. My God, Yani ChatGPT, my people from outside the country are like, you Kenyans are ahead. You've utilized technology, you've utilized social media, you've utilized the press. Every single space that you've gotten, you've utilized. Mainstream media has been ish with us. But I will say this, that the 40 states is still bound to be very impartial and independent. Where they are not independent, we call them out. Where they fault, we call them out. But these stories have to be seen. These stories rather have to be heard and seen everywhere. Our organizing has to be felt. Let me give an opportunity to the implementer, Karani.
Hello guys, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of vitu mingi by the way zimesemwa, and one and foremost, mimi wanasema, I've spoken in several spaces and I say, under the right circumstance, hakuna politician mzuri. So I want to actually desist your idea, could the platform idea totally to start imposing people on us. People who have been in government na wamepatikana na scandals. So I'm calling out Kivude Kibwana because the Attorney General's, the Auditor General's report on the said county and alikuwa na lead in Makueni is not very clean during the time when he was governor. So there's no need for you kuanza kwati tunakuwa lenient at na any politician. There's no politician who is our friend. Inafaa tujue hivyo, by the way. Let's begin from there. There's no politician who is our friend. Na kitu ya pili, even though you are not fronting violence, nasema the law will punish. Since hii maandamano ianze, mmeona any person, any Supreme Court judge akikuja forward, acha hata niseme tu Martha Koome mwenyewe, ule the hot air connoisseur, mmemwona akikuja to criticize and to say the rule of law will take effect? No. Squeezy, look at people like Didmas Baraza with a murder case on his hands, evidence iko hapo all along, he cannot be prosecuted. Ako hapo trying to sell us fear, and right now tunampatia platform. Why? What I've discovered about politicians in Kenya ni ya kwamba the government must have that on you kukuappoint so that they blackmail you. Going forward, hapa mbeleni, what if we change the constitution and development equal very separate na leadership, whereby even when the government is in office or not, development itaendelea. We've seen it in the UK, we've seen it in countries like Israel and the US, whether president are in office or not, development bado inaendelea na iko very independent of politicians. Politician wetu manze wamechukua hiyo pesa za development, CDF and everything weaponize. This guy called Musalia Mudavadi, I come from where he comes from. The road that leads to his own compound, huwezi pita na gari yenye iko na haina ground clearance. The guy anakuja na chopper every other morning. When anataka kuja home, anashuka in Mululu Primary, anachukua chopper back home. The road yenye inapita huko kwake iko impassable. Like, I really think going forward in a part to every politician to account. I'm not for the idiot, anarchy and things like those, but your time when you were putting the business under pressure, it was working. Now, who been appointed, I like to be the bearer of bad news. What watakuwa approved without anything, all of them. So what do we do going forward? Mimi, by the way, I advocate violence for violence. Sababu people wamekuwa very peaceful. People have been peaceful. Watu wako tu na flag and things like those, and they are still getting punished. Unashikwa. I have a friend who was arrested akiprotest your day at 25th of June. They were relayed in Kibra law courts. I think the guy lives in Kawangware. Walisema he was carrying a dangerous weapon. They don't even mention the weapon. The guy amekuwa industrial area all along. We've been trying to release him on bond until it was, I think, on Thursday when we managed to get him out. So you, hata wewe ukienda the right way, I want you to know the government wants you to go the right way. It is not playing fair. If they are not playing fair, why are we playing fair? Mbona hii maandamano isikue every other day? Because where we are right now, like the government will not be defeated where we are right now if tutaanza kukua lenient. Atunasema wanapigana mawe ati sisi tusipigane mawe. Like, no, the time for democracy for me, I really believe it's over. Return fire with fire. Evil too, that is all I'll say. Do what you have to do to protect yourself, because ukilia, no one is listening to you. You still die anyway. So that is me and that is my submission.
Troy, I want to tell you a fact. And the fact is that the prison infrastructure system was built for men, young men like you in this country. It's a young men who overpopulate the prison system. It's a young men who people are profiting on in terms of the tenders they're getting to maintain the prison. It's a young man like your friend alishikwa on some inflated, bogus charges, which of course, if a good magistrate or judge is to listen to that case, following our evidence, atamwachilia. It's a young man like huyo wanajua, especially the ones from the poor community, wanajua hawezi afford kulipa bail, kwa sababu hawezi afford kulipa bail akatakuwa katawamasi. And so we will use this criminal justice system to be able to punish them and instill fear in them. That's what they're doing, and that's a place that they are shooting us to. If we want this country to move ahead, if we want to change our laws, we have an opportunity to do that. We find that there are these laws, we have to do away with them, we do away with them. But we must understand that the number of young men who are dying and impoverishing in the prison system are so many. And so we cannot turn them on the dishes like that. And that's why I really loved LSK. LSK has come out, has followed the law, has cornered them on the law, and that's why they are releasing people on even a zero bail. If it did not stand on the rule of law, then it becomes very different. So we must choose a path. Is it a path to constitutionalism, where we said, kwa nini bibi ya mtu ako na budget? Kwa nini magari mnanunua ovyo ovyo, mna repair manyumba? Kwa nini watu wanapewa appointment and they don't qualify? Why is it that we have economic crimes which are not being persecuted all the way to the end? Why isn't EACC doing its own job? Why is DPP coming every day and telling us we don't have evidence like they did yesterday? That is a rule of law. If we want the other side, which is a very dangerous side, is that we will give them. And even right now, you will see a lot of the times when the law acts for it favors them, watakimbilia waseme, section XYZ. And you saw, even when the IG for National Police Service was releasing that statement on the freedom to anchoring on the freedom of assembly and protest, Alieka, he quoted the law. And so they use the law when it favors them. And so we must call them out on that.
Okay, Doc, I think also the reason why you hear people getting angry is because even as much as we are trying to pursue the law, unaona kuna watu wanashikwa na wakireleasiwa, people are being abducted. I won't use the term arrested. People are being abducted and then they're being released without charges, and this thing goes unspoken about. I mean, this is unlawful. So people are getting angry because it's becoming a government it's like a bad behavior they are doing and no one is watching over them. So this thing is angering people. So that's why unasikia watu wakiongea hivi. So I don't know if we have lawyers who can help us, because it's also coming. See, the process of law is becoming unbearable for most of us. Watu hawezi shika mtu and then you release them without any charges, and then there's no consequences for you. You see, so it's like they have more power than we do. So wase pia wana jump juu ya hizo story. Then something I wanted to clarify, there are so many requests, and I think even on my end they are hanging. So those who are requesting and DMing me that I add, kindly note that we are trying our best. It's hanging on my end slightly, but be assured that you'll have an opportunity to speak. Sawa sawa.
Asante sana Davis, and I totally hear you. I totally hear around the place of anger kabisa, cause mimi yenyewe wakishutu mtoi wangu naweza guruka kabisa. But I also totally hear on the place where watatumia tu hiyo ofisi ya IG na DPP na wapeane evidence na we ufungwe, hawatajali ni hasira. So hii movement yetu tumekataa. Wakikuabduct tunaacha hashtag, tunapiga kelele na kurelease. Saizi LSK imepeleka number of public interest litigation to court. Let me tell you, I say place tumetoka na judiciary ni mbali. Are they where we want it to be? No. But at least we have structures that can take us somewhere. That's why movement haijakuwa ultra-virus. Hakuna place tumeitisha ati any powers or any requests which are outside the ambit of the law. And that is actually what is making them uncomfortable. Angalia Menya na hiyo story ya JKIA. Right to information, by the way, very simple, which is a constitutional right. Wewe tupatie information, mnasema mlipatia Ambani hii, mlisema hii ni PPP, private public partnership. Iko wapi hizo? Iko wapi documentation? Iko wapi tendering? Iko wapi procurement? That's the thing. And so mnawafinyia hapo. Mkiwafinyia hapo, you know they stop briefing. Because they swore. They swore to uphold the law. So at least if they didn't swear on that law, we have another alternative. By the way, Davis, mimi demwa ghetto. Tunatafuta tu streetwise. But our baseline is what they swore to uphold for now. Glow. Mudeu, your hand is up. I don't think Mudeu, can you hear us?
There's no response from that end.
Flinch, and then Jamila.
Oh guys, niaje? I think what I'd like to say ni hii kitu tuendelee kupush na don't give up yet. Najua kuna watu wengi kwa timeline wenye wanataka hii movement ifail. Maybe wako na their personal agenda. Kuna mtu anataka yani tu imsatisfy. Juu kama nimeona mtu kama Cairo, ukiangalia tweets zake ni jamaa tu anataka kudiscourage watu. So what you do, tukazane tu and you're going to win. That's all.
Oh, thanks Flinch for being brief. Yes, Jamila, kindly go. Jamila, your hand is up. Okay, we'll have Cynthia speak. Cynthia?
Am I the only one who is not hearing? Issue?
Jamila, we can hear you.
Okay, hi. What I wanted to
Please
say
speak
is,
a little louder.
we've been trying.
You're whispering.
Hello, can you hear me?
Kombali.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you, but Kombali.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is, we've been trying to be cordial with this government for so long, and I don't think that is effective. The way forward would be, I'm not saying you go the way of anarchy, but to make this place hostile for these people, regardless of whoever they might be, a member of parliament, whoever is in this government, to just make everything difficult for them so that at least our voices can be heard. The only way to deal with manipulative, egotistic, narcissistic people is just to match their energy. Do whatever they are doing, but in a constitutional way, because these people will not hear us. We've been out in the streets for like a month. We have been doing it peacefully, and they're not listening to us. Um, Coming to this point, it's not fair, and there is nothing we can do about it. But let's just try to um, be bad towards them the same way they're being towards us.
Asante sana. Jamila, I really like that. I really like that we can hold them accountable but based on the law. For example, Jika amechekiwa video mse wa which constituency is this? MP. Barabara ni mbaya alafu anashukishwa na mbwa tembea.
That was an MCA.
MCA. That's very simple. As in kitu kayo. Kiari juzi, I mean after our pasile bill, the finance bill after I voted yes, alinyimwa platform. Na ikuwa violent. Msi alienda kachukua tu mic akamwambia buda wezi tubongesha. And so every single way their popularity can increase, remove it from them. That's why churches are a very important strategy for us. Wanafika church mayouth mnaanza kupiga kelele. Wanakuja mako mayouth mnaanza kupiga kelele. Mna make sure madha wenyu wote wanapiga makelele. So that means they become, let me tell you, the weapon of the politician is popularity. The moment they're not popular, wako nje. Cynthia, Tekla. Cynthia?
Yeah, I'm here. Chenye nilikuwa nataka kusema ni clearly we can see that we are dealing with a government that doesn't care. On Tuesday watu wamekuwa maandamano, on Wednesday Ruto announces people that we do not want. So clearly, as much as our protests are working, kuna message yenye bado hatujafikisha. We need people to organize ourselves. Kuna watu wenye ni IT experts hapa Kenya. Organize something, bibi sijui venye zinaitwa na those IT terms, but a bullying, cyberbullying something to those government like leaders. Wasipofanya chenye tunataka, shukisha down their account. Mtu akipost kitu, let it not get any attention. No likes, no comments, nothing. Let's paralyze them. And then kama kitu kama protests, we need population. Tunataka tukienda demonstrate, tunaenda wote. So instead of going there tutupiwe tear gas, what about we organize something like a concert? Tunaweza to hashtag something, organize a concert, kila mtu aende town. Have everyone in town. Na tufanye hiyo concert even for a full week. So that watu hawana reason ya kushoot people who are attending a music concert or a comedy concert or something like a musical. Hakuna mtu atakuja kushoot watu wamekuja kudance na kuimba, but something to paralyze the CBD or Nairobi. Tukitoka hapo to make sure that kama kuna mbunge yoyote ama someone that we do not want, someone that doesn't listen to us mwenye anataka platform yoyote, we deny them. Mtu akiorganize rally, they want to come to speak to us, we do not attend. We don't like hivyo to boycott everything. Hivyo ndo tutaweza, because people are dying, kusema ukweli. Some of us are still very young, we still have dreams. Tukisema tunaenda rogue in an unconstitutional way, we are going to end up dead. And I don't think we want that. So let us like be smart. Tufanye kitu yenye ita work. Hawa wakina Ruto, let's make them lose their account. Something tunaweza fanya. Hawa watu tuwanyime spaces zote. I think that is all I have to say.
Cynthia, I really love that. Kuwanyima spaces zote na kwa very innovative. I love about how artists have also taken this up. I've seen skits, I've seen short films, I've seen animations, as in all single ways in which our message can pass around. That's very powerful. I want you to remember that Kirkir, who has been appointed as a cabinet secretary of transport, has had criminal charges, economic criminal charges on him, has appeared in court. But huo msee amekuwa appointed. mwosho moja. Wewe Cynthia, ukienda kusaibabuli msee, which one sababuli, of course it has, I mean there are certain things that the law says. Atatumana hapo kwa hao yako, ushikwe hapo, DPP ataandika charges haraka haraka, na by the way kitu kidogo kidogo unanyonyeshwa ukiwa ndani. My point is, kama hii website imebuildiwa ya Ndii, that website is very factual. Every single thing Ndii ashaisema imewekwa hapo. Ile ChatGPT ya corruption, it's factual. Every single thing iko hapo, it's a fact. So msi hawezi dispute. So if maybe the word is not bullying that you wanted to use, is another different word. And I'm not explaining you. It's that brings in that makes you become their target easily. Hivyo tu nilikuwa nataka kusema. Rosie?
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just wanted to say.
Hello, you can hear me?
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes,
Abdi,
yes, we can hear you.
someone is on the mic.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I just wanted to say, like, guys, since we started on the 25th, like right now, a lot of people have become, it's not even anger anymore, it's apathy. If you haven't noticed, a lot of people have just resolved to going back to their lives because they're giving up. Because really, when we're speaking the truth without justice, it kind of frustrates a lot of people. That's why we see the likes of Cairo, and it's not just Cairo, it's many more people. Like when we were starting before the 25th protest, that was the mother of all protests till now, someone would hold a space and 100K of us would sit and listen. Right now, at max, the one person who still holds a big number for spaces is Amerix, and we clock at around 40K, because 60K of us have become apathetical to the cause, because we are seeing no results. We are seeing like guys are tired. So me, I don't want to discourage the cause, because this cause has given so many of us so much hope. Like this hope that had died. Me, I won't lie, I've never voted for Ruto or Raila. These guys, after the post-election violence, I lost hope in them. So whenever these principles were the ones who are the face of being elected for presidency, I've never really bothered. I gave up on politics at all. Like if you even look at my timeline, I am anti-political. I don't even watch the news. But since the hashtag Stop Financial Bill started, some hope was built in me. Sahi nimekuwa yani advocating in any space I can get to just get people psyched up. But even me in my circles, I can tell you for sure, guys are apathetical. People, in fact, today in a WhatsApp group, someone just asked, are people still going for maandamano? They are going to be a maandamano tomorrow. Like, okay, you've already given up. Yani, there's no, hakuna kitu. But what's aching in my heart really is just to say, guys, we need to re-strategize. I'm sorry, but we need to rethink. Ruto is not looking for leaders. Isn't it derailment? Anajua hakuna leaders kwa hii movement. Anajua everything kinagaubaga. He right now ni campaign ya kusecure regime yake the next 5 to 10 years. And that's what he's doing. And we need to match up that energy. You guys, Ruto and his cronies, they're wise. They watch us, they study us, and they adjust accordingly. We can't sit down and just use the same principles we've been using since 25th. Those principles worked for 25th. Right now, we need to look forward for ways that can stop whatever systems they're putting into place to secure their reign. Mimi sijui how we will achieve that. All I know is hata kama watu wako angry, wamechoka, one thing is for sure, mi sijaona hao watu wakisema Ruto must stay. Guys still want Ruto to go. Now we need to sit down and think what is the best approach towards Ruto going. One way I can suggest is get all of us together in a forum, in a space. I don't know how we will do it, but we need to sit down and decide on one way forward. Whether that means we are forming a party, we are not forming a party, we are doing this, we are doing that. We just need to sit down together and decide what's the way forward. and really now focus on that, because as we speak right now, kwanza nimeona news hapa breaking, ameshaanza kumake changes kwa KDF yenye tunasema they are still on our side. This guy is securing every angle. Kila mali tumesema kitu, kila mali tumefocus this. Mimi nimekuwa educated on so many things since hii story ya maandamano ianze. Sitaki kukua dialed down again. Sitaki kurudi hiyo place penye ati nimeziba kila kitu ya politics, anything that's triggering, so that nirudi back to my cocoon. No, we can't go back to okay. We have to look for strategies, you guys. We have to speak one language. We have to get all of us in one space and decide on a way forward. That's my take. Thank you.
Thank you very much. History getting all of us in one space. It's an idea that some of us have been discussing behind the scene. But ni ngumu manze. But also, it's also a good thing that people have various spaces. Ndio isikue centralized. You see, when you see, this is why Osama, people turned on Osama. Well, he betrayed the people because we, at one point when this thing started, we used to have, I think, a maximum of 2 spaces on the TL. Ilikuwa Osama na Kimuzi hosting, and then it started by Osama hosting, and then when things went out of how they went, watu wakachange. So me, I think the diversification kukuwe na various the goal is one. Ruto must go. So watu wa diversify, watu wakuwe na hizo space.
Sorry
I
to
saw that.
interject. Sorry to interject. I'm not saying that we have one space continuously. You're not getting my point. My point is not to have just the one space where we all meet during that one space. No, we just need to set our agenda correct. You see, when we were hashtagging for finance bill, we had that one agenda, finance bill. People were still having multiple forums to talk. But right now, we need to re-strategize, to have that one agenda that you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying we need to have that skill. We need to have a mother. Like hata kama itakuwa commit physically ama wapi. When you see, guys are now having many different agendas, and that's division
Yes,
is
actually,
what's making us to be weak. We need to have one strategy, and that can only happen if we sit down and have a forum where we all agree. Hata kama si eti ni 100% all of us agree, at least 90% of us.
If you monitor keenly what has been happening, the reason why you might think we've been struggling is because people don't know. Kuna watu wanasema Ruto must go. There are hardliners who are on Ruto must go, and then there are people who occupy Parliament, occupy MOH, or do this, sack the cabinet, dissolve. So you see, even when you hear from these, we might call them the experienced political, they're asking us, what do you want? You want the same Ruto who want you are calling for Ruto to go, and then mnasema Ruto dissolve a cabinet, bring in competent people. Mnasema Ruto apatie ideas. What do you want? I think that's the point you are saying. We need to move with one agenda. Because as someone had talked earlier, people like Cairo, they got what they wanted. I mean, when the movement started, we were almost 100% in. Then kuna watu wame drop in because probably what they were fighting for walipata. When the people who were in for money walilipwa wakatoka. The people who were in for the finance bill ilianguka wakatoka. So there are people who still are not satisfied with what is happening. So we need to form that hardline where to agree. What are we going for? Are we going for Ruto must go? Because all these things have different strategies. Tukisema ni cabinet in tunataka iende, we won't approach it the same way we want Ruto to go. I think there I agree with you 100%. We need to form our agenda very clearly and make sure that everyone is on board with what we are moving with. Who's been on the line for long? I think Mebs or Doc, kuna mtu ulikuwa ushaeka online. I think we'll
Kuna
have
Rain na Mebs na Abdi in that order. Alafu Manga atafollow ine. Rain, Mebs and then Abdi.
I can go as we wait for Rain. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Go.
Well, guys. I know Some days are heavy. It's heavy on my heart, actually, from the time I saw the nominees. And once again, of course, the political class has just joined hands and left Kenyans all naked. But why do they do that? It's because Ruto knows he's naked already, so he's trying to cover his ass. Yeah. What we are doing and what you're saying is doing the swamp, 100%. I've had a speaker before me talking about Kivuta Kibwana, and with all due respect, I love Professor Kivuta Kibwana, but I disagree because it's true. His books were never clean as well. So there was looting when he was governing Makueni. Yeah. Martha, he on his when he chimed in, he spoke about Martha Karua and people. And yes, we can take advice from them, but it doesn't mean we trust them 100% because the political elite are just the same people. If they're not eating together, then they're the opposed people on the table. Yeah. Martha Karua is the same person who also, if you remember the scandal well in the election of 2009, she's not that clean anyway. So and also I disagree with people calling for violence, like Doc said here, Bosire, the prison is meant for poor people. Yeah. That's why you see people like Ditmat Baraza not in jail because the government, because they have money, they are looting for who, they are doing this. That is why they're not sitting in prison. Prison is meant for poor people. That's why mtu ameiba kuku huko ushago ako kwa jela Kamiti maximum prison and mwenye ameiba milioni anatembea scot free. Obado is free. We can name all of them. Sonko is there. We can name all of them. I don't need to go that. So please do not use violence. Do not use violence. That is when you know, like Doc said, and I don't want to repeat because we'll just be repeating the same things. That's why you will know that the constitution, they follow the constitution. Yeah. I remember yesterday the DPP came out and said, oh, the person who shot Rex, it was not clear from which direction and all that, like trying to tell us, like, if I take a gun right now as Mabel, go to the streets of Nairobi in the darkest night and shoot somebody, I will be caught. I will be found. Just because I did it and nobody saw me, there must be investigation and it should be determined who exactly shot. And police they are given bullets in the morning. They're told you walk with this. There's a leader there. You are someone in charge of you who says 5 of you are going to man this side, 10 of you are going to man the other side. So at least in the range, they know who was there. Yeah. So Tusibebo Ufala, guys. Tusibebo Ufala. We are draining the swamp saying Ruto must go, and Ruto must go doesn't mean Ruto as a person. It means the presidency, Ruto, with everybody in his governance. Gashagwa, everybody, water, I don't want to mention their names. So guys, do not forget that okay, I said violence, please do not go for that. And leaders, people who are calling, oh, we should have a leader right now and start picking one right now. That is how they're gonna disband this movement, which doesn't need to be disbanded right now. You've seen already, even Raila, who has been the god of, we call him Baba, yeah, he's in bed with them right now. So please not say. And didn't Ruto say that public officers, servants over 60 years should go home? How old is Aporanya again? But I rest my case there. So I just want to urge you guys, I know what is the way forward. The way forward is for us to follow the constitution as we have, keep making it uncomfortable for them, deplatform them everywhere. Yes, when they come, Uko Ocha, there's actually, I'm always against MPs living in Runda and then their constituents live somewhere else. I am for, if you are the MP of Madare, you should live in Madare. If you are the MP of Langata, live there so that you know the problems your constituents face. There is no way, mimi ni MP wa Siaya, ama whatever place, Samburu, and then I live in Nairobi, and then once every quarter I go home with my fuel guzzler with the muddy roads. You guys push my car. I see young children whose feet are submerged into mud until their knees, trying to push these big cars for the MPs to move. No, make them march, make them walk the walk, walk the talk. They should go in their hospitals, in their constituencies. At one day, everybody will benefit from where they serve. And I call for everybody, please, let's forge forward, because if we don't, anyway, it's a matter of time. I keep insisting on this. It's a matter of time. This political elite, the way they've been, our CS wamekuja tu sizing. They will be vetted, of course. They will pass that one. Mbadi told us the skunk, he's part of the skunk right now. He will be part of it. all of them are just now will compete. Who is going to loot more? Where can I get more money? Who is having this? That's why you hear the sayings of watu wa Murima, watu wa wapi. That's why every parastatal is full for their people so that they can steal easily. And if they continue like that, right now already, the middle class is just a disease away from poverty. If it continues like this, the poor people are becoming more and more because the elite are less anyway than the poor people. Majority are the poor people. Once, because there's no food security right now, health is rotten in Kenya. Once it continues like this, in the next 3-4 years, people will be starving in Kenya. What do? You have your defense mechanism. It will urge you to go and steal for my neighbor. Ndaenda kwa Doc Bosire, ndakuja kukuibia because I do not have anything. Anyway, it's either I die of starvation or I come and steal from you. And if I steal from her and we are done eating what she has, we will move to the next one. So Occupy State House will happen anyway. Yeah, people from Kibera will go to the next affluent estate in their surrounding and steal from those people. So at the end of the day, we should think about the Kenya that we want. And I just want to rest my case by saying, please do not give up. I had somebody say, of course, we are giving up. And I understand. And I know it's every day different information. Yesterday, people are being killed in the middle of the night. We couldn't sleep. Today is now coming with this bogus list that they're doing and all that. Tomorrow will be something. I know too much information so that we are even so exhausted with so much that they're giving us, the bullshit that they're giving us. But please do not give up. If you give up, politics, it's a body that governs a lot of your daily lives. I do not need to explain. A lot of eloquent speakers have spoken before me. So guys, let's forge forward. Let's drain the swamp. Ruto must go. We keep occupying the streets until they know really Ruto, Odinga, and everybody else. We do not need you. We do not need the political class, and Kenya can run without them. Thank you very much, Davis. Thank you, Kimus is not here anyway. Thank you, Bosire. And next to the next speaker.
Thanks, Mebs. Thanks, Mebs. Very positive vibe. Abdi, I think you are next.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this space. I'm joining you from Toronto. And my take is...
From where?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
You said you're joining from?
Toronto.
Okay.
So my take is, I see Ruto as a real joker for sure, with his political coalition of losers. I thought he will listen to the ground, which is not the case. It is the status quo repackaging of the same corrupt, incompetent folks to just form an unholy alliance. Despite the promise of change and reforms, we continue to see the same old pattern of governance and mismanagement. I refuse to endorse any of Ruto's appointees. His values actions fundamentally oppose our philosophy of life. We don't even believe to any of these politicians who are self-seeking. It's time for us to demand a genuine and accountable leadership rather than settling for recycled, failed governance. The government is not listening. The march will continue. And now we need to change of strategy and tact way forward. We need a vehicle. We need to follow the constitution. The Kenya I want is one where there is inclusivity, sustainability, rule of law, and progress are at the forefront. By upholding the principles of accountability and transparency and genuine commitment to addressing the root causes of our challenges, we can build a Kenya that truly reflects the hopes and dreams and our aspirations of the people. I believe together we can achieve a brighter and more equitable Kenya in the future. Thank you.
Short and precise, Abdi. Love that. Duke Mtambo.
Thank you, Bosire, for this opportunity, and Kimuzi. First and foremost, I would like to say it's a good thing that Raila has joined Ruto, because this gives us the opportunity to be the opposition of the government, and this was the last card for the last 4 presidency that we had in Kenya. During Moi time, we had Kibaki and Uhuru, and now it's Ruto. So Raila, actually, I don't think Raila runs for really go fight for presidency to run the country. I think he's just put there to be the loser during the election, so that he can benefit himself, because during Moi time he went to he did a handshake, Kibaki handshake, Uhuru handshake, now Ruto handshake. So this handshake is a last card of any president in Kenya. It's a hidden card for any president in Kenya. So right now, when you feel like your government is in shaky mode, you bring Raila, and all of them, they know Raila is a conman, is somebody, he was called by Omtata a political prostitute, because this guy only wants to benefit himself. Look at this position right now. He didn't even go with Kalonzo Musyoka. He didn't go even with Martha Karua. The same, it happened during the Uhuru time. He didn't went with Wetangula and all the other allies, you know. So this guy always negotiate or always take opportunity for himself. Right now, in this particular moment, I'm so angry because he didn't even go to the street. Yeah, this guy didn't go to the street. The Gen Z movement started without them. It was a leaderless, it was a partyless, it was tribeless. And the guys went to the street because of one major cause, that was finance bill, and also to call out the corruption that's going on in this government. And then at the last minute, he saw the opportunity and he hijacked our movement. Right now, he has go to bed with the government for his gain. You know, because even those CS, they have been put there. Those, if you read the article today that was wrote about the ex-CS exposed Ruto, you will see how the government works. Yeah. So Ruto was controlling the ministry, the CSs. You know, so the CSs are there like puppets. They could not discharge their duty. It's the same thing with Raila. So those CS will put there. They'll just be controlled. They'll be puppets. So technically, Raila benefits himself from the government. Is the government. So my first point was, it is good that Raila joins Ruto, because this was the last card for any president to bring peace in this country. And we all love peace in this country. But this has given us opportunity to push harder, so that we know we are sending them all home. You know, we are sending not Ruto alone, but we are sending even Raila. So we have to clean up the mess. We have to drain this swamp, you know. So another thing, the second point is strategy. This is very important, guys. Let's mobilize. I'll take an example of Egypt revolution. Those guys were also leaderless. It was a leaderless movement. Those guys took 18 days, camped at the Tahrir Square, you know, in Cairo. And in 18 days, the president was gone. So I like the strategy that we used on Tuesday, that we confused the police that we are going to occupy JKIA. Of course, it was one of the strategy, but it happened that the protesters went to the CBD, so police were caught unaware, you know, and even that made Bungei to come to the CBD to try and talk to the youths and to be seen you know, anaonyesha urafiki na wao, so that it cools down the temperature. But that was an embarrassment for them, you know. So the last Thursday ile andani tulikuwa tumesema we camp at Uhuru Park. So these guys, they have their spies, even these spaces, you know, even right now they're listening, you know, and that's why, that's the main thing that they were caught unaware, because they come to Twitter and take that information to their boss. So walifikiri tutaenda JKA, then we went to CBD. So they rely on social media. They don't have grassroots information, you know. So if we could find some strategy and say we camp at Nairobi, you know, less people travel. Look, the people who can, that is. It's not a must all of us go to Nairobi. But those who can, you can host 2-3 people at your house. It doesn't have 82 kuje, the same day, and then we do the demonstration. We can plan, if the demonstration is next week on Tuesday, people can start traveling now. Host 2 or 3 friends at Nairobi. Then when we say like we are going on Tuesday for Mandamano, we are more than the number that came on that day that we occupied the parliament. You know, so this will give that strong overwhelming will overwhelm. I mean, the police and the government. The other thing is, how do we deal with the goons? That's another problem. How do we deal with the goons? Because these goons are the ones which government they're using. And because it's not expensive for the government to use the to use the goons, you know. I mean, it's expensive for the government to use police and you know, the tear gas and all that, but it is less expensive for the government to use goons because they pay 530, they'll pay 1,000, you know, they'll come with rungus and all that. So, because remember, with this mandamano, with this protest, we are starving the government. So it's 3 weeks of starving the government, or a month we have been starving the government. The government depends on the revenue they collect. So if the business are closed, they are starved. They cannot run any function in the government, which is us as the citizens of the country, because we have stalled our economy. But at the same time, it's good because we are starving the government until, you know, they don't have any option but to shut it down, you know. So that's a good thing. Also, it pains us because it's like a sore, you know. It doesn't pain them alone, but it pains us because we don't have job, you know, we don't have food on the table. But that also gives us courage. Let's push hard. The last thing is, let's continue with the fundraising. I think we did a very good job with fundraising during time with the Hanifa, you know, because during that, what I liked about the time we occupied the parliament is it's because we had strategized very well, because we had medical guys on the ground. We had people who were not there on the ground, maybe from outside the country, they're donating. And this gave the government and Ruto sleepless night, because we have our own money, you know, that will cater us. Because when you are going to war, you expect death or win. It's simple. It's yes or no. It's just like kati ya dem, utajua ni yes or no. But so when we go there, let's continue. Let's have a platform. I think I'll just say Hanifa has done a good job. You know, if she'll like to continue that job, maybe be the treasurer of this the movement, well and good. If he refuses, then let's find a decentralized place whereby we can raise fund. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the Mchanga, you know, because maybe government can reach the Mchanga. We have different platforms like blockchain, where we can raise money through, say, Solana. Bitcoin is a bit expensive, but you can have Solana, where you have a wallet with signature, where people, like 3 odd people, are custodial of that, and nobody can do transaction without the other one, you know. So we can continue raising funds so that these casualties that we are having, those people who are dying, we can also give them a good send-off. We can also grieve with their families, you know, because the government, Ruto, promised that those people who are shot dead by the police, they'll be taken care, those hospital bill will be footed out. But I don't think if it happened, you know, based on also the tweets that Hanifa always tweet. So it's very important, guys, to be together. Let's raise funds. Let's be strong. Let's have one hashtag, the way we head on the finance bill. This will make us more stronger. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next. Let's have Tom. Tom, your hand is up.
Well, thank you. I greet you, Kenyans, in the name of your ancestors. I hope Duke can mute so that I feel being heard. Well,
I already muted.
It's okay. Well, Kenyans,
keep it short.
I really believe that we are in one accord saying that we are fed off with bad governance and what we need is good governance. It has been proven beyond doubt that if we are going to continue with the current political system and with the current leaders, we are going nowhere. So in this case, the subject of today, Ruto is a joker. To me, I find there is a problem even with that topic of the day, because it draws us back to lose focus. A situation whereby you've decided you are vacating your home, your rental home, maybe because it is leaking, maybe because there is no proper water supply, or any other issue. You want to move to a better place. Then at the same time, you are still complaining about this house, that this house, by the way, the tiles are not good, the floor is bad, there is no proper supply of water. So that can just be, it's like you have lost common sense. What I would really suggest for us Kenyans, having agreed that we really need a total overhaul of this system, talking about the issues like corruption, like bad governance, like starting to discuss all challenges that we have seen, up to that point can just be also time wasting. What do I mean? We know where the problem is, and the problem lies deep in the root. There is always a reason for everything. And even on diseases, when you want to treat any disease, you don't go to treat the symptoms. You go to treat the cause. That's when you'll get the right answer. The root cause of these things will just show us that the problem is not necessarily corruption, not necessarily what we are seeing, state capture and any other thing. The root cause Kenyans, the root cause Africans is number one, colonialism. Number two, foreign interference. Number three, we have capitalism that is embedded in Africa. Number four, we have religion that was brought just specifically to capture our brains, not to think. Number five, we have ethnicity and tribal vulcanization. We also have what we call democracy, and we are also subjected to an electoral cycle, including the term limits. This is brought by a constitution which I believe was not African-based. This constitution, we borrowed it from America. That's why we have a presidential system. Well, if we want a total overhaul, it means we must deal with the roots. And I'm really talking passionately because I believe this is an African thing. We are continually being oppressed. We are continually made poor, and we are actually slaves. Neocolonialism is still alive today. Therefore, let us agree that we need a total overhaul. After that agreement, let us stop discussing all these other issues, which are just the fruits that are a result of the bad root, of the roots of this generally. Up to that point, I hope you've got my point. So continuing, I'd like to inform us that we, having the specific topics that we need to talk about, we can consider, if at all we are focusing on political education, so that the majority who have not understood these things that I've just talked about, then we can now be talking of the issues like corruption, trying to explain. But this should not happen on the social media, because I believe everybody that has access to social media and technology, these people are informed and they are here deliberately. Then how can we be able to go to the grassroots, kule mashinani, so that we start telling people, we enhance the rage in them, the vent in them, tuambie vitu zitawakashirisha na watosheke na hawa watu na wakasirikie. That one is only possible through political education. This political education should be funded. Going by how Duque left, it means we really need to have a fundraiser and we need to have a kitty to fund this thing. Number two, having agreed that we are alone, the political class have been playing into the same system, the same monkeys changing the different forests. Remember Joho passionately saying that Ruto is the most corrupt person. Whenever he's elected, now he's okay. Normally, anything that serves your interest determine how you behave. I can tell you that any one of you right now, even Kimuzi, if you are just called and you are told, by the way, the remaining one cabinet secretary preserved for you and it is confirmed, honestly, the way you will behave will change. It's the nature of human being. Let us not necessarily judge people so harsh. Also, we must not expect perfection from people, from everybody. The nature of human being is like that. But us having agreed that you are speaking one voice, let us agree. Do we want Ruto out now? Do we want to go by the constitution? Or do we want to wait until 2027? After agreeing that, the only strategy of getting Ruto out of office before 2027 is by mass protest. Hakuna kurudi kwa nyumba, tumejaa. I fear that possibly Kenyans have not reached a situation whereby all of them or the largest number can get out on streets. Suggesting that for us to get the largest number on streets, we need to get people from other towns coming to Nairobi. I think that may necessarily not be the right one, because it doesn't mean that we don't have a large population in Nairobi. These people can get out and occupy the streets and it can be a success. Then why is it that they are not out? Because they have not got the information. Haijawafikia vizuri. Haijawafikia na hawajakasirika vizuri. Mimi actually, when Ruto was sworn in and I did not really want him to be the president, mimi nilifurahi kwa sababu ndio atachuna watu kabisa, watu wakasirike. So we need to choose. Tunataka kukasirika saa hii ama baadaye. Ikiwa tunataka kukasirika saa hii, then tuachane na mambo ya Ruto must go now. Let us go in political education, ndio to make sure watu wapate information, wakasirike, ikifika 2027 we vote them out. But kama hatutaki kukasirika saa hii, let us get out, tuseme Ruto must go. Possibly we will be defeated. Giving him more time to play the games he's playing, that one can get many watu watakasirika, watatoka tu wenyewe. I'm not necessarily saying that tumpe time. If we are not going to give him time now, then what can we do? Number one, vile Duke amesema, let us set a parallel way of mobilizing funds. Let us give our best into this thing. Let us have one space, on days like Saturday or on days like Monday, Wednesday, and Sunday. One space that we are just doing political education, we are talking about one subject. The other days, let people do whatever they are doing in their different spaces. Also, let us make sure that, okay, what we already know kindly right now is that the way Raila has just joined Ruto, they are going to program themselves and plan themselves, and also to lure the masses into supporting them. How can we go?
Thomas, kindly wind up. Kindly wind up. Tuko wengi.
Thank you so much. I'm winding up. So let me just summarize. Having said all things that I've said, Ruto must go means we must have mass out to go and get him out. And if at all we will stick to constitutionalism, I believe that the constitution was made to protect power. It was made to protect power. And just as the other person said, that if you are going to misbehave, only the poor will find themselves in the courts. If we play the game of the constitution, it's like we are giving ourselves into the hands of the oppressors. When need be, we may really decide not to consider the constitutionalism. We may just decide to face them head on, because we are in a ring. Everybody is trying to survive. Thank you.
Asante sana. Who was on the line? We have who's been on the line for yes, check only.
Thank you so much to the hosts and the co-hosts. First of all, na suggest if you are for Ruto must go now, you start your speech with #Ruto must go. Ruto must go. So rest in peace to all those heroes who have died and those who are injured. I wish you a quick recovery. Let's talk about actions, not walking the talk. First of all, most of us, we are still members of UDA. We are still members of the Azimio Party. We cannot be in this while we are still members. We are giving them still numbers. So it's about ni time ya to do the registration from UDA and Azimio en mass, so that we can be able to convey our dissatisfaction with the current rogue political regime. And one of the ways we can be able to, we can maybe do a Twitter space, specifically or purposely dedicated to the registering from those parties. I am aware we can do it online. Others, there's some, is it called USSD codes? That is one way of telling these people that we are tired of you guys. But if we are still in those parties, we are not acting. Hi, my next point. Most of these politicians are using our religious spaces. I believe most, especially our Christian, I'm sorry to say this, most of our Christian religious leaders are giving platforms to the corrupt politicians. And I think part of our actions is to include boycotting these the specific churches that are hosting the corrupt log criminals into our holy spaces. We also need to officially or formally write to the NCCK, the National Council of Churches of Kenya, and other religious bodies, so that we can raise or express our concern and request a clear stance on the issues that the politicians using the platforms to influence the population, and giving handouts so that they can influence the population ili tukae kwa poverty, because most of our parents are still languishing in poverty. The next thing, I know, before I finish, I believe that the religious spaces, they are supposed to be sanctuaries for morality and justice. Hazifai kuwa platform za kuendorse individuals that are killing innocent protesters and stealing right and left. That is, those are my two strategies. And the next thing I would also propose is that we should ensure that the more than the 52 people killed during the protests, and I find it funny that we are talking about 52 people. Well, there are reports that more than 42 people were killed and dumped at Kware. So, what is the true number of those people killed? Why are we talking about 55 while still other people are still missing? Why don't we talk about 55 plus 42 people? That's totals to about 100. Why are we giving numbers that are not real? Why is our traditional media giving numbers that are not true? We all know that Kware was a cover, but in the real sense, we have, and I can see Alan Namu here. I'm asking, because I'm also a creative, I'm asking those independent media to investigate what actually happened at Kware, so that we can know the accurate number of those killed. So the people, we need to get them justice at the International Criminal Court. And one way of making sure that they get justice at the ICC is to ensure that we document and collect evidence that can be able to prosecute those criminals. We also need to keep all the medical reports. I'm aware some people, that is why the government and those askaris that we are going to the mortuaries were indicating accident died mtu alikufa kwa accident, mtu mwingine sijui alipigwa na mob, because they are hiding the evidence. So we need to have all those medical reports with us. I am aware we have even some platforms. We need to have every video that was taken, all the medical reports, and photographic and video evidence. And our media, John, I can see John Alanamu, they have so very good coverage of the events. We can get all that evidence so that we can make sure that all those involved, from the executive to the police, they pay for the inhumane acts. Another thing, we should also include the human rights and international lawyers, so that they can guide us, because they have the experience, and they can guide us to make sure, because we are aware our courts will never prosecute these criminals. So we need to find international people who have experience in human rights and international law to guide us through the process. And also, I would also want us to engage international media, because our media stations have been, maybe I'm putting it in quotes, compromised. Yesterday they were not showing us the events, so I don't know what is happening. And they need also to come out clear why they were not doing whatever they are supposed to do, because they are supposed to give us, they are supposed to give us coverage for whatever is happening. So we need to engage international media like CNN. Lali is doing a good job. So that we can have the continuous advocacy. Another thing,
Wind up, checks. Wind up.
okay, my last point is I believe that most people here have a religion, some don't. But one of the things to address the corrupt and inhumane regime spiritually, I believe we can designate specific days for community voluntary fasting, so that because I believe that that the most merciful can guide us and protect us in this revolution. In conclusion, let's drain the swamp with actions, and thank you so much for everyone who is actively in the revolution. Asante sana.
Asante sana. Kindly, guys, just to make a point, my co-host Ali drop. We are working to bring her back, and then Kimuzi, I think he's engaged, so I can't reach him. So I'm struggling to get the request. So many people on the DM, hata naona kwa TL watu wameanza kusema we are not adding everyone. The kuna issue na space. I don't know, someone was reporting it. So there's an issue. The requests people are claiming to be coming hazifiki huku. I have only 4 requests at the moment, and I'm trying to add them. So kindly be patient as we are working on it. I'll go with the manga. You've been here for long. I think ulikuwa umeongea. What do you want to say? Then we'll go after the manga. Ameshatoka. We'll go to PC, then the real Joe. Let's have PC, then the real Joe.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Papai. And I just have questions. I also have concern concerning these appointments. The suggestion that the government has Ruto has given that should be vetted. And what is the way forward for us, guys? And as we know, winning an election in Africa, not only in Kenya, entails a lot. and we need to get a solution as far as tomorrow maybe. And my first plea, we need to form a political party. If you people can remember the time Ruto started campaigning, so for Team Azimio was just a catch up, of which Ruto had already traversed the whole country. What do we mean by this? In the event that happened in Nairobi, we had Okiya Mtata, who we saw like is not an angel, but he's a guy we see like he can lead us, he can give us that service that we need. And vile nimeona saizi is like Ruto is planning for 2027, is getting his team ready, and Gashaga will come up with the political card. I know for sure. This will haunt us if we don't start early. The question that we normally get on the ground, I normally get on the ground is, what next for us? And who is there for us? It's like, as far as we are leaderless, but we need to have a solution. And so who are we proposing? So people can start seeing, getting to know that person in every bit. One thing is, if it's Okiya Mtata we can front as a president, let's start it early as possible. And number two, I see people saying like we should contribute or bring up something kitty. I will support it, and at the same time I'll not support it. The fact that Hanifa has been so genuine, amehandle our kitty for mchanga, that does not mean like everyone will be as honest as Hanifa. And kama kuna contribution yoyote that we people need to do is our political party. If it's Okiya Mtata, we are contributing for the purpose of him to traverse the country. As far as I know, Okiya Mtata is 100% known on Twitter. I can tell you maybe 30% known huku ndani ndani. That's what we need to do. Our parents, see us, they need our leading now. They've led us, the leading that have taken all those years, they've seen like they were blind. They are ready for our leadership. And the person that we give out, this is our person. Before tribal cards come in, I know for sure maybe next week or next week, but one will see the likes of Rigathi Gachagua akienda Mount Kenya akisema our people have been secluded, it's our government now, Ruto has brought someone. To some point, those people might think like Rigathi also talking for us. Rigathi will not talk for us. Kalonzo will not talk for us. And when you say an overhaul, it's an overhaul of all these old cronies who have been in government since 1983, since 1992. Ni nini hawajaifanya that they want to do? They've had ministers, ministerial positions, they've had prime ministers, prime cabinet secretaries, whatever. So number three is Hanifa as a kitty. What we need to do, if we can organize one big rally as a Gen Z family, so that we unveil our president, and if I can break that safe and say like, well, let's make maybe we book tickets for everyone who is willing and ready to travel to Nairobi. Maybe we book a place come on Kasarani. I heard Kasarani is on a maintenance, one of the biggest places. We converge, we unveil our leaders, we have a vigorous work in this country tukiuza sera zetu. That's what people are yearning for. Tumefungua maovu, but hatusemi our end game. Our end game was one, it was we have a referendum where we need to cut those MPs' salary. Number two was to reduce the constituencies. Number three was this power. The constitution as such, you can see, it has given the political class more power. As far as it tells us, power is for us. But you look at the point of maybe theft cases and corruption. It's only on the constitution it's only in Kenya where a politician steals, but six months down the line, 3 years down the line, hajaishikwa. But a person stealing chicken, thief who stole a phone, in 3 months kesi yake tayari asharushwa kamiti. Those are the things we need to change in our constitution, where we should get a law. The court should do these cases in less than 6 months, we get a verdict. And if someone has any case, a person like Waluke, a person like Aisha Juma who shot someone, a person like Didmas Baraza, they have criminal cases, then wanakuwa allowed tena to vote. If someone has any criminal case, either shot or either corruption, these people should not be allowed to hold any seat in this country. Those are the changes that we need in this country, or else we'll be talking, we'll be having these committees. As a matter of fact, energy inaenda ikishuka. Is not how we started, but we need a solution as far as we are all in this. Let's not
Asante
tribal cards, please. We need these leaders so that we can beat this tribal card yenye watu wataamka. Watu from Mrima wataamka because tumeshindwa kupeana wa leader. Watasema sasa mmeshindwa ni nani Rigathi? You know, when someone gets out of the government anze kulalamika huku kando, people see him as a savior. But he has stolen, anakuja sasa kupeana huku. That's what Ruto did. Let's get our leader. Let's form our tribal, our political party to drive this agenda. Thank you.
Okay. Asante sana. Asante sana PC. Who was speaking? The Joe was next, but I'm a drop. Let's go to Jaire. Then we shall give Dr. Bosire to represent the females. I'm really trying my best here to add. I'm not seeing the ladies asking for the mic. Kindly, ladies, ask for the mic so that we get your views as well. Jaire?
Hello. Let me know
Yes.
kama nasikika.
Yes, tunakusikia vizuri.
Okay. First and foremost, I'd like to begin by passing my condolences and my respect to everyone who has lost someone or who has been hurt in this movement. Second of all, there's something we need to acknowledge, and it's that we're in a revolution. And a revolution is a time of revelation. So as much as things are revealing themselves in all these ways, and certain individuals are not who we thought they were, and leaders are actually politicians and not who we thought they were. It is what it is. Let us accept it and remember that a revolution is a time of revelation. Now we know who they are, and we can treat them as such, and we can proceed as such. Many opportunities have come through with this truth, and many realities as well. I think to my second point, it is that a lot of old tactics are being employed to divide us on tribal lines and political ideologies and all types of other nonsense. However, please let us remind each other the truth that we know as the people of the day. There are only two tribes in this world: the rich and the poor, those who can and those who cannot. A large point has been made throughout these conversations of decentralization, and a lot of times we're talking about technology, and that's great. I think, in fact, that's the future of governance, where we are all empowered as citizens to actively participate in the making of decisions and policies and how things actually go. It can't be YouTube wanaweza niuliza ka the ads are nice, but my local MP can't ask me what's more important, a new road or a new school, so that tusonge tu na kenye iko haraka haraka. That's wild to me. So decentralization, not only in terms of technology and policy making, but also we need to look at Decentralization in terms of wealth. So many of us are contributing to this economy. So many of us are the heirs of great wealth that we will never see or realize on a communal level, not even on an individual level. It's how many schools has Sugar built in Mumias? You know, we hear about all of these resources coming from all of these places, but what is there to show for it? We are looking to these individuals, and I'd like to come to that point. First of all, I'm so sorry, I should have started the way we were instructed earlier by one of our peers with the hashtag Ruto must go now. However, the truth is, huyu msee sio the problem. Let us not glorify him too much. He's just an heir to a legacy that is ending with us. The truth is, this guy grew up wanting to be like Moi. He's from that school of thought, Yondo Brotherhood Yao. And the guy before him is the son who Moi used to look up to. And the guy before that guy was their accountant. So let us address these things like from the root, venye Tomboy alikuwa anasema. A lot of these systems are not ours. Jumze was put into power by white people who I believe were not trying to see us prosper as a nation, but fall into line with a larger plan. A global agenda is taking place, and we've been able to see previews of our place in it with all of this IMF nonsense. Na big up kwa wananchi wote wenye wana occupy IMF offices majuu, because they are now bringing the bigger picture into focus for all of us. So as we go through this and we continue to educate each other, let us pay attention to the big picture. Within that point, I'd like to point out that we're living in an era in a world of capitalism. So we must consolidate and understand the ground according to that reality. The larger picture, do we want to reset that thing? Because it was made up by people just like us, and people who had an idea that not perhaps like us. So we need to see what's really going on there. But while we are playing that game, let us consolidate our resources and point them with accuracy according to what we want to achieve. Decentralization once again, and let us rely on the integrity of the people who have shown it and have systems to fall back on if people prove to have weaknesses that we can't see. Moving on to my my third point, I'd like to point to the reality of what's going on in terms of where we are. We are being provoked right now. We need to understand that. Na kwa hiyo point ya provocation, lazima niongee na polisi wa kwanza. You see, my dad was a cop once upon a time. Na kuna reason hakulast kwa hiyo profession and he didn't see through the whole trajectory. It's hard for an honest person to exist in a system that relies on dishonesty to thrive. So lazima niseme kwa polisi wenye tumepata nao kwa street, wenye wako hapa kwa space, mnatumika vibaya. Mnatumika vibaya and you're making the people among you with honor, even them. You're shaking their faith in the system. And we will separate ourselves from you, but it is painful to do so because you are meant to be our guardians. Initially, this system is supposed to protect the property and the people who own property. However, the larger populace is the people, and those enforcers come from the people. So I ask the police, remember, you are us. Ama muendele kujichapa hapo na matia gas, mkule ma hotbox, the system will move and will move with those among you who show honor and valor. But at the moment, mnatuangusha mbaya sana. We are being provoked to turn violent.
Umemaliza? I can't hear you. Okay. I think I'm a drop. Can
Hello.
you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, Atmak.
Yes.
Let's have Bosire speak. I had already put her on the line. I took one ladies, but I think now we have one, Stacy, who will speak. We'll have Bosire, Dr. Bosire, then Davis N, and then Stacy speak, and then Maxell in that order. While I'm adding other.
Thank you, Davis. I'm sorry I dropped as a co-host. I think the internet or something. But I needed to, first and foremost, let me clarify a few things. One of the chiefs said, he said that our constitution is not sufficient in as far as holding people to accountability is concerned. That is not true. Our constitution is actually extremely sufficient to hold right from the president all the way to the judicial officers. And that's why our constitutionalism is built on separation of power. We have the executive, we have the legislator, legislator, and we have the judiciary. And the reason why we have these three arms of government is that they are all independent bodies. One of the reasons why today we are all very angry at Raila's people is because they had literally blurred that line between the executive and the legislator, right? Is that the opposition has actually been defined in the Constitution and the Political Parties Act and their role. And so, confluencing an opposition and giving some members of the opposition to join the government is saying that the function of the legislature to hold the executive, because each holds each other accountable, is actually that has been killed. It's null and void. Then he also spoke about what does it look like in terms of the structure that exists to hold these people accountable. Again, when you look at the different statutes that exist, if you're looking at the Political Parties Act, if you're looking at the IEBC Act, Independent Electoral. Oh my God, why am I swallowing my words? The Electoral Acts. If you're looking at basically, basically, we have statutes in the country that are supposed to guide how people conduct themselves. So if somebody, for example, when you look at the issues around integrity, if somebody has a criminal case ongoing, if somebody has a civil case which touches on fraud, that person is not supposed to hold any office right now. That person is not supposed to even be appointed. So what I foresee in what Ruto has done, he knows we are going to raise these questions. He knows we are going to bring out the data on ODM. So either the strategy is either deflecting for us to make noise only on Azimio, which is not going to work because all of them in one group, mongrels, all of them are cut from the same cloth. Until now, we see independence of thought and actions from politicians. I'm really surprised that Orengo has come out and has literally said, no, this is not what I signed up for, right? It's not like Orengo is clean. Already there are a lot of, we have a qualified audit report from Sierra County, questioning about misappropriation and abuse of office, right? And so this does not sanctify him or clean him, but it just says that literally speaking, if you're going to move forward in this country with leaders of integrity, then people must choose side. What Raila's legacy right now, until he rests with the ancestors, is that he is the one leader who chose to literally weaken our constitution. And the weakening is actually perceived because of this acceptance of these appointments. The other day Mbadi was in parliament saying the skunks that you have nominated to cabinet, he's now a skunk. I've seen old men, and I'm very particular about this, old religious men putting hands on him, praying for him. I'm like, guys, mumerogwa na nani? Nani aliwaroga mfike hapa? And they will always weaponize religion, by the way. They will always weaponize religion to be able to try and, whitewash themselves, to be able to look very clean and to see that they're guided by religion. And that's why one of the things the Gen Z, the millennials, and this movement, I call it the accountability movement, has to specifically state that Kenya is a secular state that respects, acknowledges, and upholds the freedom of religion as a constitutional freedom. But it is not a state where people will put will put budgetary allocations for the first lady and the second lady. No, no, no. Or the office of the cabinet secretary. No, 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 no. This is not a state. It's a state that will uphold the rule of law. I wanted to clear that out. Back to you, Davis.
All right, thank you. At Davis.
Yo, guys, thank you very much, Davis, also for giving me this opportunity. We have to start with the hashtag Ruto must go. And I also want to thank Dr. Bosira for a very beautiful submission today. Actually, I've been listening to you since the space started. And I'd like to say that what we are doing a great justice to our country. Let everyone know what we stand for. I can just give an example, like for today, I did finish my work early, and my boss actually came to my office, and he did so me listening to the space. So he said, "You also listen to space?" I told him, "You see, we have to represent you guys because you are baby boomers. So we have actually to represent the nation and actually give out our grievances." Now, I'm just going to talk about so many other things, and I'm going to be very short and precise, and also give other colleagues the mic so that they can be able to also give out their take on this, what's happening to our nation. First of all, we have to understand what is our purpose, what is the reason as to why we are doing this democratic expression. Why are we doing these protests? These are very good platform, because for us citizens, we need to express our opinions, our grievances, and demands. Actually, they are a very essential and democratic engagement, and it makes us to allow us to hold our leaders into accountable. So if we do not do these demonstrations, actually, I'm telling you that we are seeing our country going into a ditch, and that's why we are not going to allow that to happen. And I think that we also need to understand that we need to have what we call the social change. That's why we have this protest. We need to have this social change. The process can highlight so many other things. We have the issues that have been happening here and there in justices, prompting the government and such to address them. We've been having historical injustices around us, but nothing has been done. So this is a trigger for us as young people that we need to check our country. In fact, let me tell you that I was very much mad that the Raila Mzee did join the Ruto fraternity. Me and my family, I remember sometimes back, I had to quarrel with my madam because she never went to vote. So I asked her, why did you not vote? Because one vote counts. I had to call my brothers in other places to enable them to wake up very in the morning to one and vote. But now what's happening? The same Baba is the one that is making us feel like we did a very bogus job. Today, I denounce him. I called my wife in the morning and I told her that now you are right, why you did not vote for Mzee. Because he's the one actually who is making these silly mistakes. I can just call it silly mistakes. I had the opportunity to talk to Mbadi the other day at Ole Sereni, and I told him that Mr. Mbadi, go and tell Mr. Nyamoko, because Nyamoko comes from Nyamira County, that's North Mugrango, that he needs to come home and make the roads. Go and tell him that whenever we see him around, we are going to take his neck off. That is the last thing I told Mbadi, because they were having some conferences or meetings at Ole Sereni. I think maybe that's where they normally sit and make all these very stupid decisions. So we are not going to relent. So what we've started, tafadhali mtu asikuje kusema like, what is next? Madam Dr. Bosira said categorically that let us clean the house first. If we start early, we will die early. Let them know that we are there. Let us Let them know that we are there. Let us be invisible. Let us be ghost, so that when we make our moves, okay, let them know our moves. I know we have the NIC here, we have the DCI here. We don't care. The other day, actually, I was seeing some two Land Rovers around my place, so I took time to look at them from a distance. So I had to go at the top where I stay. So I just stayed there for some time, but I came to realize that there were some guys who are doing some mapping around to put some business around. So whenever we talk on space, we have to be very vigilant also who is following us, okay? Who is following us, because these guys are all over. They are here listening. The other day, I told you guys that my uncle is one of those guys, the police guys, and then he was like, you guys, you have to be very careful. The government, you cannot defeat the government. No. Who is the government? We are the people. The people is the government. We have given them the mandate to work for us. We are their employers. They are our employees. So whenever we take them into accountable to whatever they do, they have to listen to us. So this thing of saying like, oh, what is the next? No, let's clean our house first. Let us talk. Let us give them sleepless nights. At the end of it all, when we it reach a time where now we'll start maybe think of political affiliation. I mean, starting our own political party, but not yet. Let us first say that let us give them sleepless nights. Let us. One of the friends said that we will plan on the fine days and meet. We can organize. And there was this guy who was said that there's these hackers, the international, the anonymous. Who can reach out to Anonymous, and maybe we can even shut out the media houses. We can even hack the media houses, and that day, for example, today we could have talked to the Anonymous to shut the media, so that whenever the president talks, nobody hears it. So let us use all the platforms. Let us use the hackers. Let us use doctors. There's someone who said about cyanide. You know, cyanide is a very bad chemical. You know, we don't want to go there, but we can use other mechanisms to make sure that we are there. Let them be scared. But even Badi, the Wadoi, and the other guys from ODM, we are done with them. Me, from today, I'm partyless. I'm not going to be an ODM member. My wife, I told her it's good she never voted. My brothers know that Baba, we are done with him. So guys, let us continue. Let us push. And I know this is our country. We are not going anywhere. This is our country. I know. Once we keep on pushing, once we keep on moving forward, I know one of the findings, we are going to make sure that our country is on a very good hands, and we are going to be accountable for our country. It's us and it's our time, and let everybody watch our step. Thank you very much. Let me drop.
Asante sana. Let's have Stacy, then Maxell, and then Michelle and Tomaso in that order. Stacy, Maxell, Michelle, and Tomaso.
Hi everyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so I'd first like to say that the sponsor of anarchy in this country is Arab Mashamba and his government. If he's not completely deluded and insane, then that would mean that he's bloodthirsty and hungry for power and is willing to maintain it no matter the cost. Now, with that out of the way, I would like to go to today's topic. It's now very evident that we're up against more than one person. We're up against a whole system that is rooted in plundering without any pushback. We as a nation, through our leniency up until now, have fueled this fire, and it's time to put it out once and for all. Now, the billion-dollar question is, how do we achieve that? It's not by lobbying or having dialogue, because as you've seen, there is little regard for the rule of law by the political class. If they respected the rule of law, then they wouldn't go ahead and attack and maim people in their homes at night, drag men from their homes, take people's kids out of their beds. I honestly lack words for this government. The way forward is to borrow a leaf from Bangladesh. We have to go all out, have a full-blown out protest, bigger and better than what we experienced on the 25th. We can't do the same thing daily and expect different results.
Tujikaze kamba sasa. I propose a whole week of protests, no going home, no retreat, and no surrender. Young people, millennials, and Gen Zs, let's get everyone to Nairobi from everywhere in Kenya, starting from this moment. And earlier on, I'd heard this person saying that, why do we have to get people from our country? Why do I have to go to Webuye? Why do we have to go to Mombasa? Why do we have to go to Shimba Hills? And the answer is quite simple. The people in Nairobi right now, not many people can get on Twitter Space. Let's be clear on that. And what we witnessed on 25th is, I think there was much more public uproar because of the finance bill. We had celebrities amplifying it. We had media stations amplifying it, which has stopped right now. Yesterday, we saw what the media did. They weren't covering it. The celebrities have gone back to business as usual. The influencers too, some were paid not to amplify what's going on. And so right now, we need to be as vigorous as the political class. They're outsourcing goons, and we also need to outsource people. We're not going to pay anyone because that's not, we honestly don't even have half of them or half of the funds that these people have in the political class. So what we can do is get like-minded youth. I know there's like-minded youth in Migori, in Garissa, everywhere in this country. If that is doable, then we can go forth. Another thing that I'd like to touch on is I've had quite a bit talk on us creating a political party. I honestly don't think this is the time for that. And I've also had somebody talking about rallies and Okia Mtata, which is, sorry to laugh, but it's quite comical because who would attend these rallies? How safe will these people be? I mean, we have people being taken out of their beds at night. Who will willingly attend these rallies? I think the motion right now should be for us to get these people out of power. Then from there, we can discuss, have a national discussion on the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Your story fronting in a political party. I also had the same views at the beginning, but from the submissions they may come, I'm starting to be convinced it's becoming a bad idea. However, we take in all inputs, alafu based on how they are supported, will forge forward. Even history rally, the same idea you just fronted is what I was thinking. It could be very dangerous to put people on the streets in the form of a rally. Alafu, as you've seen, these people can, and then now we have the entire government and opposition on one side. They will do anything to sabotage such meetings. Hata ile music concert we had, it's just that because I don't think we had gone this deep. But right now, if you try to pull such thing, the government, I'm not saying that we don't pull them. It would be so good to have such a music concert where we have everyone coming, and the musicians na celebs wanakuja, but they would do anything to sabotage such meetings. So, well, noted for the guy who made those contributions. But
wait, just a bit. I have something else to
add. Yes, in a minute.
Okay, there is no way that an honest and just organization, or rather a political party, will survive this corrupted system. That idea will be dead on arrival. Ata say jokes. It's not even a joke. That idea is dead on arrival. What we need to do before we even get to having political parties, putting new people in power, we need to take the rug off their feet, of the government right now. We need to strike them hard. And the way to do that is to have a week-long protest. That's my thought on this matter. We need to have a week-long protest, no going home, no relenting, and no going back on our words. Just a strong week-long protest, and I think that's going to destabilize everything that they think is stable up until this moment. Yeah.
Thank you. Maxwell, then Michelle, in that order. Maxwell, your hand was up. Kindly unmute. Going once. Okay. Michelle.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
What I want to say, nobody, like, si kila mtu ako hapa kwa X-Space, but everyone ako kwa church. The point of occupying churches is that the message ifike everyone, even our parents. Most of them wako kwa church, and they'll understand. If every Sunday youth moja simame and I explain here, watu wako kwa hiyo kanisa, it's not about the tribe, it's not about the coup because the government is saying it's about a coup. No, it's about us fighting for our rights. Kama the point of occupying the churches, it's a very good idea. Juu watu wote wanaenda kanisa, hata hao watu wana Ruto, he's using the church as his platform, so we can play his game not by picking guns and going and shoot police. We can do his game by occupying those churches, the same churches. Anatuambia atajenga the churches. Go to the churches, tell your parents, tell your friends, tell the pastors, let's make Nairobi unbearable for him and every part of the country, because kama ana platform ya kuenda kusema kwa kanisa, tunamnyima hiyo platform, tunamnyima hiyo celebrity, because every kanisa atakuwa anaenda, people will know the shit he's trying to pull already. Most of the churches wameona, so itakuwa very hard to do what he's doing right now. My second point is we cannot amplify on political party. Huwezi create political party sahi manze, it's hard. How watu already they won't nafikiria political party, watu wanauliwa. You cannot juggle with blood. Tutakuwa different na akina Raila. Tukiendelea na political party, we'll be just like them, we'll be going the same direction. That's what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Who was next? Maxil, are you on? I'll drop you if you. Let's have Kevin.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Okay, my take. Kwanza wacha niseme condolences kwa wale wote wenye walikuwa wamedai kwa protest zetu. Na hii cabinet imechaguliwa leo. This guy is a joker. My issue is mi naona hizi protest zikiwa zilikuwa zina work. Kwa sababu the way we started na watu wakafika hadi parliament, ilifanya mpaka the president akadrop, akusign hiyo finance bill into law. Akakuja akadismiss almost all of his cabinet. So alikuwa anatumia ile delaying tactics aone what is our next move. So during that time the political class, because ilikuwa shaken, they came together, wakaona they protect their own interests. That's why now there is no party, there is no one party, there is no ODM ama UDA, wako pamoja, wamealign their goals so that they can protect their selfish interests. These are narcissists. What we need to do, because the protest has been working, na unaona hata venye tulikuwa alianza kutumia divisive tactics, unaona wengine wanasema tusiende maandamano nini, wale wenye tulikuwa tumeanza nao. So hapo ndio alichukua advantage, akaona atuingize uoga, akaona venye kama hii ya jana watu wengi hawakutokea, tuseme tu kweli, lakini tukiwa tumetokea kwa wingi, they fear and we gain our power. Tukitulia wanatuingiza fear, wanapata power yao. So my main point is we should not relent. Naweza sema hii kitu venye imesemekana hapo, the woman speaker alikuwa before me amesema like 1 week long. Mimi hata naweza sema hata si hata 1 week, hata kama ni 1 month long, we protest, we come out in our large numbers to make hii kitu yani waone it is serious, because tukikame out in numbers wanakuwa shaken. That is the power we have according to our constitution article 1. The power hii tunaweza delegate ama tu exercise on ourselves. Tukiwa tumeichukua ni yetu, tuna exercise, we the people wanakuwa wanafeel threat ya sisi kurule as a nation, as a people. Mimi mambo ya party, I'm not for that at the moment, because tukisema mambo ya party, the political class wako na advantage because ni wajuaji kwa mambo ya politics kutuliko as of now. Mambo ya party na nini na wako in power, so watatumia hizo ma authorities zenye ziko hapo, political parties what, because tunajua ni cronies wa the president, the former prime minister. That's why wamejieka pamoja. So sisi pia tushikane pamoja, protest zetu zikuwe ni Kenya wide, tunatokea Monday to Monday, watatusikia. Na venye tu Martin Luther King alisema, freedom is not given freely by the oppressor, but it must be demanded by the oppressed. That is the best and sure bet yenye tutaweza pigana na hao watu through katiba, because tuna exercise our right. We have a right to picket and demonstrate. Mi naona tu hiyo ndio kitu tunaweza fanya, na mambo ya party sahii bado tusiweke kina Mtata nini. Hatutaki mtu mwenye ako huko kwa parliament, tunataka sisi wenyewe the people we fight for ourselves na tusikizwe. That's my take. Thank you.
Lifeline, before you go, again, Kimuzi alieka space and then I think he got engaged, or either simu yake imehang or ako engaged. So I'm struggling. The co-host was Dr. Bosire, aka left. Now I can't leave to come back. The requests zenye zinakam moja moja, and I'm trying to add them as they come. I think ni side yangu ina hang, and I can't drop to return back because Kimuzi is not on. So kindly bear with it. I'm trying my best to add when you wanna request. Kuna watu wana complain they have requested, I'm not seeing them. Not that I'm refusing to add anyone. Actually, I'm even at times na run out of people to add as speakers because in a hang. So I'm not seeing your request. If you are claiming that you've requested since 4, I'm not seeing them. It's not that I'm refusing. Go ahead, Lifeline.
Okay, hi, you guys can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, mine is, I actually agree with most of you, and what is happening is actually tragic, a low down dirty shame, because clearly we are dealing with a very shameless individual, full of pride, ego, I don't know what to call it, and it's so sad because people have died. Why? For what? So that Azimio can gain. They're scavenging. They're scavenging what they did not work for, because these same people were yelling the badness of this man a few days ago. Now he's a saint. So clearly we see that the political class are one, and there's something very wrong in parliament, that even the same people go there and become something like possessed. So mine is to say, what going forward, what needs to be done? Is it Ruto goes now, or is it when? Because I think now it's a matter of when. Because now it's either accelerate or stop, because people can't keep dying. There's a problem. We first have to admit there's a big, big problem, which we have to counter. I feel like in Kenya, I think he really spoke on what is going on, and I felt his pain, because that's what we are feeling, much as we may not voice it. But it's tragic that people are being shot while they have flags, they have water. Yet yesterday we saw Ndudi goons, because those are goons, perambulating the whole city with no consequences, passing cops, and they're there acting like they're blind. But when peaceful protesters are going here and there, it's a problem. They tear gas them, they beat them, they bar them juju to put them in their lorries like they're thugs, while the real thugs were let to go free, even when supermarkets were being looted. So how do we counter this? And I always say, if you study people like our president, you can't beat him at the game unless you think like him. He's those kind of people. To beat him, you have to play the game his way. So how does that work? What do we do? Because it can be every single day. People are dying. And I also agree with the guy who said human nature, interest will win. People can be bought. And it is true. We've seen it on the timeline. We've seen celebrities, interests. Interests are what? We are in the interest stage. So what do we do to counter this? Because it can't be psych for like this. Then people are being picked off one by one because their interests are met. And it's one thing for your interests to be met, then you start playing double agent. Please, if your interests have been met, shut up completely, fall off. Don't be goading people, yet you're sitting pretty somewhere. Just shut up and keep off the whole movement. You've done your deed, keep moving. Because that blood money is never good. And also to speak on moving forward, I think people just need one voice and a plan. I know it may not be 100, but there's a way people can just say, this is it, and let's go. Because also the on off is not working. Clearly it's not. because now it's become like the norm or a pastime. So how do you get taken seriously? I think that is it.
Sawa.
Davis, can I speak? Sorry, I didn't put my hand up.
Who's that?
Bosire.
Yeah, Bose, I was trying to chat you.
Oh, sorry.
Kindly, guys, I'm going to request you that Dr. Bosire create a space, alafu to join huko, because this issue is persisting. I can't add people, and I'm the only co-host. Na host amepata shughuli. So kindly, Bosire, if that's fine with you,
That's fine.
create a space and then we join there. Hii itahang na I'm getting people with all sorts of cries ati nimekata kuwa add.
1 minute pass.
Yeah, kindly. Let's join the other space alafu we continue with the conversation.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.